Hello, my fellow Alaskans. How are you guys all out there doing today? I am here today to bring you a show that is like no other show you've ever seen. This is one that you definitely do not want to miss out on. I am here today with Huhnkie Lee, who is running for U.S. State Senate here in Alaska. And I am happy to say that this is going to be one show that you are definitely not going to want to miss out on. And today, as you can see sitting next to me here, there is Huhnkie Lee. And he is running for U.S. Senate against Lisa Murkowski. And so I'd like you guys all to take a moment, share this video, and Huhnkie Lee, what would you like to say to everybody out there while I get a couple of things straightened out here?
Hello everybody, content judge, ladies and gentlemen in Alaska. My name is Huhnkie Lee. I'm running for US Senate as an independent Alaskan in this year 2022. Great to meet you.
I'm glad to have you here. And today we're just going to basically cover a lot of questions that maybe you may have out there in the audience right now, and field what is going on here in Alaska and for his candidacy running for U.S. Senate against Lisa Murkowski. And there's nobody else out there like her. And so where would you like to begin, Huhnkie? Is there a subject you'd like to just jump right on into today, or just kind of spitball and start wherever?
So maybe I can introduce myself a little bit. I was born in Ithaca, New York, America, 1978. And because my father was studying economics, PhD, doctoral degree. So they gave birth to me when my father was studying, and my father finished Cornell, Ithaca, New York, Cornell University, PhD in economics. He finished that when I was like 3 months old baby. So we all moved back to South Korea, and then I grew up there until 1997, graduating high school there, South Korea, and then I came back to America, 1997, first to Madison, Wisconsin. I studied computer science. Finished that degree, Bachelor of Science degree, and then there was year 2004. So it took me 7 years for me to graduate because my English was very poor back then. And then I went back to Cornell University, where I was born. Studied computational biology, PhD, doctoral degree for 2 years. Then I dropped out because it was too difficult for me. Okay. Yeah, PhD is, I couldn't do it. It's just too much studying. So I dropped out after 2 years and moved back to Los Angeles, California. Lived there for 3 years, between 2004 and 2007. No. Okay. Cornell, Ithaca, New York, 2004 to 2006. Los Angeles, California, between 2006 and 2009, so 3 years. My job was computer programming, and that's my day job. And in my spare time, I did acting, filmmaking, and if you go to YouTube, it's in YouTube. Okay, 70 minutes long movie, Therapy for Metrophobia. If you type therapy for metrophobia, meaning like fear of the city. So I made that movie, it's in YouTube. And then 2009, I joined the US Army as a junior enlisted, E4 specialist. So I was in the US Army for 4 years, between 2009 and 2013. Deployed to Afghanistan for 1 year. And yeah, and then after I got out of the US Army, honorably discharged, 2009, I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan, law school. So between 2013 and 2015, for 2 years, yeah, I finished graduate law school in 2 years. Okay. So that's 2015. I came to Alaska, and that was 7 years ago. I lived in Anchorage for 1 year. Now I live in Matsu Valley, like Clinic Fairview, just outside Wasilla. Yeah, 6 years. I have a house there, and so 2018, between 2015 and 2018, my job was computer programmer. I worked for Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, Alaska state government inside of JBL as a computer programmer, okay? 2015 to 2013, 2018, 3 years. After that, I passed the Alaska bar exam, and I got a lawyer job in Wasilla. We do like workers' compensation, personal injuries. So that's the job I still have now. So I've been lawyer for 4 years.
So let's just jump right on into things here. We got President Joe Biden took office a little over a year and a half ago. First several days into office, he jumped right on out there and he told us all that he's shutting down Alaska, shut down ANWR, shut down the Keystone Pipeline. He just went and did an apology tour around the world. Saudi Arabia, he basically kissed the ring, doing another Obama. Where do you stand at if you make it into the Senate? We know what Elisa Murkowski did. She sold us out the first days that she was in there, as she's done since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Voted for Haaland to take over Interior Secretary out there, and which is what shut down ANWR, shut down all the drilling in our Gulf Coast. If you were to get elected today, where do you stand at with ANWR, energy independence? Where do you see the future of the United States and Alaska if you were representing us there down in D.C.?
Thank you for the question, sir. So Democrats, basically, they are worried about climate change, global warming. So that's why they hate fossil fuel. And but I'm independent. I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. I'm independent. Okay. Sometimes I agree with Democrats. Sometimes I agree with Republicans, depending on the issues. Okay. So, but fossil fuel, I agree with Republicans. Okay. So Democrats, they're worried about climate change, global warming. I'm not worried. I think climate change is okay, and global warming, that's just fine. If you keep using fossil fuel, right? Yeah, there'll be more carbon dioxide, and there'll be more plants, because that's what carbon dioxide is plants' food, photosynthesis, right? Yeah.
Well, bringing up climate change there, I just kind of want to step into the middle of this real fast, and I love climate change. I mean, anything that makes Alaska warmer, I'm all thumbs up for that 100%. This summer, we've had record-breaking forest fires going on around the country, especially here in Alaska. We've watched over 300 million acres have been burned this year. Best estimates that have been out there says that the forest fires themselves have put out more pollution, carbon pollution that you're describing, that it's good for the plant base and everything else, than we Alaskans combined have done over the last 10 years. It really brings up the big question, what percentage of it is human caused, and what is actual Mother Nature just doing what she does normally throughout the billions of years that our planet has been around?
Yeah, so about okay, dinosaurs, they died like 66 million years ago, I guess. So when during the age of dinosaur, like let's say 100 million years ago, the ANWR, northern Alaska, they used to have dinosaurs there, the Arctic forest. The Wikipedia article about it, and also Museum of the North in Fairbanks. Yeah, they have record of this big trees, big dinosaur up there in northern Alaska. So they died and they got buried, and now they are fossil fuel. That's carbon cycle. And like, look at a car, trucks. Their food, they're like animal, okay? We humans, animals, we eat carbohydrates, carbs, right? Cars, they eat hydrocarbons. It's pretty much the same thing. Carbon and oxygen, hydrogen, that stuff, okay? It's carbon cycle. So yeah, we eat carbs, carbohydrates, rice, bread, and then, so that's how we take in carbon. Then we exhale carbon dioxide, right? And so it's like it's the digestion, that it's a consumption. It's like burning wood, which is carbs. Okay, you need oxygen, and you need carbon, and carbon and oxygen, they combine together, they become carbon dioxide. Okay, and plants, they reverse that process. Plants eat carbon dioxide, and they drink water, plants, and then they get out oxygen. Okay, so there's the photosynthesis. That's reverse process of consumption, like burning. Okay, so I understand science because I have science background. Okay, so like 100 million of years ago, there were more plants, even in NY, northern Alaska, and there were a lot of plants. Yeah, it was warmer back then. There are a lot of carbon dioxide in the air. And when there are a lot of plants, there are a lot of animals, and they become very big, like dinosaurs. Okay, so
Well, you hear from the environmentalists, you hear from those living in the Arctic. They're complaining that the peat, the tundra, is melting at record-breaking levels and is releasing carbon into the air. In the form of natural gas would be the best way to describe it. It's just escaping out of the ground, and is that bad? Pollution is the warming of our planet, the release of all those carbon that has been trapped within the earth all this time. Is it something that we should be worried about?
no, we should not worry about that at all, because there are more carbon dioxide, there will be more plants. And so Earth's temperature will reach a brand new equilibrium that way, okay? Because plants, they absorb carbon dioxide, so Earth will get cooler actually. Yeah, so people who are worried about it's getting too hot down in Texas, New York, then get out of there. Come to Alaska. Go to Montana, Maine. Human migration is natural process. Human has always migrated to different places. Eh?
Well, you look at it right now, we've got on the East Coast, it's having record-breaking floods happening all over the place. And then on the West Coast, going towards like California and areas like that, they're record-breaking temperatures and droughts. No rain whatsoever. Why are we not trying to, if not instead of worrying about climate change, start paying more attention to how do we get the water that's falling in the East Coast in record-breaking levels over to the West Coast so that we resolve their drought? I mean, we've got all the rain that's coming down every single day. We've got the flooding that's happening everywhere, and we're just bringing it straight out to the ocean. That's what California does. They built all those dikes inside of California there, and when they actually do get good rains, it just goes straight into them and straight down into the ocean and never gets seen again. And they wonder why they never have any water on the ground anymore, or any water to be able to utilize, or why it's always seems to be drying up. Do you got any ideas of how we might be able to start moving in a more green area? And when I say green, as in the planet has never been as green as it is right now. I mean, you look at 50 years ago, satellite maps of the way the planet looked like, and then you look at the way they look now, and you can see the difference. We went from brown to green throughout the globe. And so carbon is the pollution out there, as they put it. It can't be all bad if it's turning our planet green. Or why would Obama be buying beachfront property if climate change was what they claim it is? Shouldn't his property be underneath water, and he should be looking for something that's up in like the Rocky Mountains?
Yeah, so the anxiety, climate change anxiety is based on ignorance of science. Okay, so when it comes to flood, yeah, Washington State, there's flooding there. It rained too much. Eastern coast flooding. What we need is water pipeline, okay, to connect dry regions and flooded regions to rechannel those water. Okay, we need water pipeline. Just like in Alaska, we have a Trans-Alaska pipeline system, right? From like North Prudhoe Bay, northern Alaska, all the way down to Valdez. There's like hundreds of miles long to ship to the oil pipeline, right? We can do the same thing across America, where there's too much water. Yeah, send down the pipe to California when it's too dry. So I have solution to every single problem in the world. Okay, because I'm a former computer programmer, like IT tech. That's what we do. I'm trained as a problem solver, as a scientist, as a mathematician, engineer. Okay, that's what we do. Problem solving is bread and butter in science, engineering. That's my background. Okay, every single problem in the world, solution. I have all the solution, all right here.
So we got the 80-some billion dollar, I think it was $57 billion chip bill that just got done passing through the Senate and the House. It's supposed to be bringing electronic manufacturing of our computer chips into America from places like China and Taiwan, which Nancy Pelosi is flying over to here, that are maybe flying over, depends on how whether or not she can make it through the barrage of live fire that is going to be going on during her visit. What do you think of that new bill that they just got done passing through the House and Senate, spending another $57 billion to give to corporations that are already making billions of dollars?
In general, I do not like this government spending taxpayers' money to do those things, because what I like is private money. Okay, so we have investors, like even like insurance companies or mutual fund, hedge fund, whatever money out there. Okay, those money can be invested to those companies. Like it could be chips, it could be manufacturing. But I don't like government spending money in those private businesses, because I don't like dependence upon federal government money, because they will lead to higher income tax, federal income tax. I don't like that.
So it's a lot like our school system then. As long as government was to stay out of it, we'd probably have a really good school system. But since government wants to continue to keep subsidizing everything that they do, it doesn't matter how bad they get, as long as they continue to keep getting more money, they're going to keep producing the exact same horrible results. And the chip manufacturer, I kind of feel, is going to end up being similar to that. Look at what they did when they subsidized the airlines. They gave billions of dollars of bailouts to help the airlines to keep flying through the air so that they can make record-breaking profits every single year on our dollar, our taxes. And they didn't give them any incentive to want to do better. Now they have all these pilots that have quit, no longer working anymore, have retired out of the system, and they have no replacements. So we're watching a big crunch of everybody trying to travel. Is just you got to pray that you're going to have your plane is going to actually take off the ground and go to your destination. Do you see this as just another government form of welfare, no different than what, say, LBJ passed back in around 1965 for the us Americans, and welfare for corporate? Is it similar to the welfare that we're seeing to the everyday average American?
I see. Yeah, well, like it's about balancing, like social security, the safety net, basically, like Medicare, Medicaid. Because hey, we are compassionate people, right? Yeah, we do want to help out the poor people, like charity, and yeah. So, but at the same time, we don't want to help them too much, though, right? So that they become independent and responsible, and so it's a balancing act, basically.
So kind of like the old saying, don't feed the bears, because they're going to expect you to continue to keep giving them that handout, and end up being like the 5 down at Centennial Park that have been shot and killed. They are in an area where the people that are currently living there are living off of handouts instead of getting a hand up. And kind of similar to the bears that have been murdered there here over the past month, 5 of them. If we're told not to feed the bears, why do we keep feeding the people on welfare or homeless and stuff like that? I mean, I have compassion and everything, but I'm for the type of compassion that gives a person a hand up so that they no longer have to live that way. Instead, we're just giving handouts to capitulate exactly what they're doing, continuing to live on the streets, living for that next, what are you going to give me next?
So my solution would be this, okay? We need to put them in jail. Homeless people, put every single one of them in jail, okay? We cannot let them just, all this human waste, like feces, urine, like everywhere in those people where homeless people live. We need to put a stop on that, okay? Yeah, put them all in jail and educate them, make sure they learn how to work. Yeah, education is the key, okay? So, and make sure I was in the US Army, right? So it's like basic combat training, okay? You are forced to clean your barracks, bathroom, and it's a kind of education, okay? So, Army boot camp for like 3 months. Yeah, we are like regimented, okay? We have to eat food at this time. We have to clean. We have to shower, and clean the bathroom, clean everything, and we have to do exercise, push up, sit up, and running. Okay. Yeah. So that kind of education is what we need to do for homeless people, and we'll use their labor as well. Okay, because we don't want to waste taxpayers' money.
No, we sure done that. It's here in Alaska. I mean, if you look at just Anchorage alone, with all the local, state, and federal money that they've received, $300 million approximately, and that's a very conservative estimate when I throw that number out there, has been spent on the homeless over the last 2.5 years. $300 million. They still have the same 450 people they claim living inside of the Sullivan Arena are the same ones that are still living at Centennial Park right now. They've supposedly, when they consolidated everything for these folks that into the Sullivan, it brought all the services underneath one roof, and they were making claims in the beginning, we're helping more people than we ever have before, and this was under Berkowitz and Austin Quinn Davison as they were running for as mayors of the city there. And now that Dave Bronson has taken office, and he tried to do something similar to what they did, which was build a big dome off of Elmore Street there. And now all of a sudden having all the services underneath one roof is no longer good enough. I mean, $300 million for 450 people is what you hear at the assembly meetings. Even though the news are reporting somewhere around 2,000 when this all started out. 2,000 people are homeless living on the streets here in Alaska. But there's 450 people that they say they want to help lift up and out. But they're living in tents. They're having food banks show up with food trucks parked outside, handing them free meals. Since they've been inside the park, they've destroyed the bathrooms, they've busted the toilets, showers, which they didn't have in the Sullivan Arena. They now have showers. The showers are no longer working anymore. Not because they were broken to begin with, it's because they broke them.
Yeah.
Where does the greed or the handouts stop? I mean, $300 million. Folks like Rasmussen Foundation is one of the big benefactors of it, and the money that they received. In fact, they received an award a few weeks ago from the Anchorage Assembly for all of their charity work and all the money that they have spent on the homeless coalition trying to lift, what, 5 people out of poverty, while the rest of it went into their back pockets of their CEOs and profitable organizations. So we got a big crisis in America, not just homeless. We got the immigration crisis going on down at the southern border. Is kind of what I'm tying this into, since you are running for U.S. Senate to unseat Lisa Murkowski.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do about the immigration problem going on down at the southern border? Joe Biden campaigned, "I will not build one more inch of wall," and silently right now he's building border wall. And pretending that, no, I'm not doing that, even though he is doing that. Where do you stand at for the southern border? I mean, we're going to break records. We've already done so this year. We still got approximately 3 more months left to go in the fiscal year, and they've already broke last year's record, breaking 2+ million illegal aliens crossing the southern border. And that's just in the first 8 months. We got 4 more to go. They're expecting at least another million, and they're only catching 1 out of every 3 that are crossing the border. So if they caught 2 million crossing the border, and that's only 1 out of every 3, that means we have roughly about 5 million, 6 million people that have snuck in across the border that are unaccountable for right now.
No.
If you're elected, what's your goal? What would you like to see have happen for the immigration problem? How would you vote if the way things are right now, if the vote came up for tackling new border wall or bringing in the National Guard or anything? Where do you stand? Well, give me your gambit on how you feel about that.
So, like, we can build southern border wall. I'm pro-wall. We can build southern border wall without any taxpayers' money, okay? We can actually make money off of the wall because we have this continuous stretch of this wall space, right? This is like hundreds of miles along southern border between Mexico and America. That's empty space of advertisement, okay? Yeah, like billboard. And right next to that southern border wall, we have hiking trail. And like running, jogging trail, okay? Then it will be international tourist destination, okay? And we can make a lot of money out of this. So we use private investors' money, not taxpayers' public money. International investment, because it will be international tourist destination. Hundreds of miles long stretch, marathon. Yeah? It will take days for people. Or bicycle trail. So there'll be hotels, restaurants, and this billboard on the border wall. We have advertisement revenue right there, okay? It will be a big business, and government, we can coordinate that effort, right? But it will be mostly done by private sector, so with private money. That's my solution. Mexico, they will like it. Mexican side, it will be the exact same. Mexico will make a lot of money along that border wall, hiking trail, restaurants, hotels, okay? So Mexico will love this.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the recent ads coming from Saudi Arabia and the big old huge glass walled city that they want to build. That's just one big giant straight line, and it'll house somewhere around 9-10 million people in this straight wall, and the radical left is all on board for this. I mean, they're all, oh, we're so giddy. Oh, look at what they are doing down there. And what if we were to take our wall, the one at our southern border, and why don't we build a city like they're going to do in Saudi Arabia and just build a 2,000-mile walled straight line mirrored city and call it the new Green New Deal for America? Do you think we would actually get the wall built if we were to do something like that?
Yeah, well, I'm running for U.S. Senate 2022, and this is fruit fly, sorry. And 2024, whether I win or lose this year in Alaska, I run for U.S. president again, okay? Just like I ran in 2020, I ran for president, okay? Yeah, I keep, every 4 years I will always run for U.S. president. And every other year, maybe I will run for U.S. Senate again, or Alaska State Governor, okay? So those are three things I will run, always, all my life, okay? Now, yeah, if I become U.S. president, the southern border wall will be built in less than 1 year, because we'll concurrently build southern border wall at the same time. It will take less than 1 year, okay? I can make that happen. Nobody else can, okay? Because we'll take volunteers, we'll take donation money internationally, okay? It's humanitarian project because so many people die from Mexico to come to America. Oh, people die all the time, like drug cartel, like human trafficking. There's human rights abuse right there. Okay, so it's humanitarian effort. We'll take donation, we'll take volunteers, and investor money, and it will be built in less than 1 year. I promise you. Only I can make that happen. There's nobody else who can do this.
Well, how do you plan on making that happen? I mean, it sounds good on paper. I mean, the reality of it, though, is we've had 5 decades, or basically since 1970, since we started declaring that the southern border is a crisis and started locking things down and making it illegal to cross the border and started building our first fences along the coast or the border there. After all of these decades, I mean, it's become painfully clear that it depends on who's in office. If the Republicans control the power in office, then the wall's being built. As soon as Democrats take control of the power in D.C., the wall gets stopped.
Yeah.
It could have been built 10 times over by now, and I want to bring Ukraine into the issue at the moment because we've got Ukraine, we've got over $60 billion has been sent to them. 40 billion of that is cold hard cash. That 40 billion could have built the wall, the remaining bits of the wall that's still remaining, and still left about another $10 billion left over for who knows what. Let's build it another 10 feet higher. Why are we sending all of this money and support to foreign countries to build their walls when we ignore our own southern border and the crisis that's going on down there?
It's because we have a fool for a president. That's what happens when stupid people like Joe Biden, that's what happens. We have an idiot in the White House. Okay, so that's why it's important that people vote for a smart person like Huhnkie Lee and not Joe Biden. Okay, dumb moron, idiot, they become U.S. president. That's what happens.
And then you get people like Lisa Murkowski who perpetuates or goes for the agenda that's in play by, as you just put it, the stupidest president we've had in America in our lifetimes. So if you do get down there, and are you going to be like Lisa Murkowski and play all the sides just to make people happy, or who do you work for? I mean, do the PACs control you like they do with her? I mean, look at all the millions that have flooded into her from the PACs, political action committees out there. It's not the everyday Alaskan that is supporting or paying for her election. You can see it in the ads that she's got running on television right now and on the radio. They're all paid for actors, paid for Alaskans to give their little speeches. I am a fisherman here in Alaska. I support Lisa Murkowski because she's the only true bipartisan choice that we have out there. Well, we've seen how her bipartisan has done for Alaska. It's thrown our economy into the toilet, destroyed any revenue, that future potential of revenue coming into our state. Willow Project, which should have been completed a year ago, is still 2 years behind from actually pumping oil into the pipeline. what should we expect different from you than what we've seen from Lisa so far?
So Senator Lisa Murkowski is popular because she's obedient. Public servant, so she obeys the mainstream ideologies. Like she supports gay marriage. I don't, and so she just go along with the mainstream majority. She obeys the people. I don't. I don't obey people. I have a very diverse background. One of the background I have is an educator, teacher. Okay, I used to be Sunday school teacher. I did some tutoring in New York, California, and I was Sunday school teacher in Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm trained as an educator. Okay, when you the people are wrong, I will correct you. Okay, I will educate you when you the people are wrong. Okay, it
So,
goes both ways. When I'm wrong, yeah, teach me, educate me, okay? It goes both ways. I'm a very strong leadership material. Lisa Murkowski is a leadership material. There's big difference. She just obeys everybody so that she get money, so that she get advertised and get re-election. She obeys. I don't do that. I don't take any money from anyone. This is zero penny campaign. I use my own money, and I don't use that much money either. I mostly do social media. In social media, we have friends who kindly, generously send me the campaign posters for free. Most time anonymously. Okay, idea campaign. Okay, we are doing this all for free, using our time. That's it. And also, I'm
so
one
if
man.
somebody
campaign.
wanted to help donate to you or to your election, is there some place that they can go? Is there a website?
No, I don't take any money.
You don't take any money at all.
No.
So how are you going to get the word out? I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, depending on which candidate you look at. You got Kelly Chewbacca out there, who is pretty much the number one person that's running against Lisa Murkowski, if you want to go by what mainstream media has to say out there. And then you've got and that's pretty much the only other name that's really got a chance running against Lisa in this upcoming election. What is going to convince people to vote for you instead of either one of them? Why would I want to vote for you? I mean, other than me knowing you personally and interviewing you several times, most people don't even know your name, don't even know you're even running in this election. This is kind of the first time they're hearing about you. So how can I help you change that? What are you doing to help besides just Facebook Live here and there or something along those lines? Is there anything that you're doing to help promote yourself out there? Are you going to candidate forums? Is there any forums coming up that you will be at?
Yeah. So like every Friday, 6 p.m. Alaska time, I do this Facebook Live. It's also Zoom meeting. I call it Friday Night Live with Huhnkie. Yeah, 6 p.m. Alaska time, every Friday. So it's an open Zoom meeting, so I copy and paste the same Zoom link in the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and Blogger. So actually, people in the world, they come and join that show. Okay, it's open Zoom, so anybody can talk about anything. So that's where I learn from the people. Because it's not about me. Okay, it's about the people, anyone in the world. They teach me good things. Sometimes even foreign languages too. Huh? Yeah. So yeah, and also in social media, our friends kind and generously send me like video clips, basically featuring Huhnkie basically to help out our campaign. So I copy and paste those campaign posters and videos in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also Clapper, because I don't have any TikTok anymore because TikTok got rid of my account because TikTok tend to be more liberal. Okay, I tend to be more conservative. Okay, so TikTok just banned me. So I went to Clapper instead. Clapper is a basic TikTok substitute. Yeah, it's video uploading kind of stuff, and yeah.
So if I was to right now say offer you the blue pill or maybe the red pill or if you're given a choice, if between those two, and I'm just going to give those two for the moment, you got the red pill, you got the blue pill, where do you stand at?
Depending on issues like LGBT, yeah, I'm against the LGBT ideology, so I side with Republicans. And when it comes to abortion, well, it's very. I can't side with Democrats on abortion. Okay, it's like multi-step. It's complex problem, abortion that demands complex answer. Okay, so step one, celibacy. Okay, yeah, I have many friends in social media. Many of them are under 18. Okay, yeah, I try to mentor them. Okay, uh, don't even think about dating until you turn 25. Until you turn 25, yeah, focus on your education, career development. Okay, don't even date. Yeah, prevention. Okay. Step one, celibacy. Step two, contraceptives. Yeah, birth control pills, condoms. Okay, that's step two. Step three, abortion at any stage. Now, aborted fetus, we can use it to save human lives by extracting stem cells. Okay? Yeah, stem cell is in biology, it's a cell that can become any cell. It can become bone cell, blood cell, skin cell. That's stem cell. Okay? So embryonic stem cell research that was done like decades ago. Yeah, we can extract stem cells from aborted fetus and sell it, make a lot of money. That way, Planned Parenthood can run as a private organization. It can fund itself if it sells stem cells from aborted fetus instead of. So Planned Parenthood can be run without taxpayers' money. Okay? Yeah.
Well, then you're gonna. It sounds like you are for abortions. Then are you a pro-abortion? Are you for the taking of a child inside of the womb for any reason, or do you have limits? Where do you stand at when it comes to abortions? I mean, you just made it sound like Planned Parenthood is. I mean, it literally is only supposedly 3% of what they do. But the moment that Roe versus Wade was overturned, that 3% turns out that the states that no longer are allowing abortions to be happening, Planned Parenthood is closing their doors. They are literally shutting themselves down because the other 97% of what they do doesn't pay the bills. So you sound like you are very pro-abortion here. Am I wrong?
You're right. I support abortion at any stage for whatever reason. Because abortion, ironically, again, it's a complex question that demands complex answers. Okay, ironically, abortion can be very pro-life because aborted fetus to me it's not human life. It's a life, but it's not human life. It's more like animal life. Okay, that's how I see fetus. So, fetus once it's aborted, and we extract stem cells from aborted fetus, and it can save lives. The real like children, real adults who need stem cells. Okay, so abortion can be very much pro-life because we're gonna save lives with stem cells from aborted fetus
So when is a baby considered a baby then?
after birth.
After birth.
Yeah.
So the afterbirth is the baby? I mean,
That's how I see it.
I mean, so you got a child inside of the womb, got 10 fingers, 10 toes, and a heartbeat, brain activity, and feelings and everything else, but it's not a life yet?
It's a life, but it's an animal life. That's how I see it.
What's the difference? I mean, a life is a life, whether it's in the womb or not, and outside of the womb. It does. What makes it an animal, in your opinion? I mean, that they.
Yeah, that's philosophical question. So let me give you a philosophical answer. Let's say baby is born. If baby child does not get education, that child become a criminal. Criminal is just like animal, okay? Because criminals lack ethics, morality, because nobody taught them better.
Well, you're describing 90% of the radical left out there today that says that children should have puberty blockers and female genital mutilation is acceptable as long as you consider yourself trans for a child. What's the difference here?
So, LGBT ideology, I'm 100% against it. So, what I mean by education is ethics, morality, like caring about other people, cleaning your house, and nice shower, and helping other people, caring about other people, and abiding by speed limit. Those kind of moral ethics education, okay? But some children do not have that kind of education. So they become criminals. Criminals are like animals. All they care about is themselves, survival. Criminals, they're animals. And criminals, they're adults and they're animals. Because they never learn ethics. Okay? So they're animals, criminals, okay? So when they see other people, they see other people as animals too. So that's why they kill other people. They rape other people. Because they only care about their own pleasure, own survival. Criminals are animals who never got ethics education, okay? So, yeah, what the difference between animal life and human life is ethics, morality, okay? So criminals, they never learned ethics, so that's why they are still animals. And they see other people as animals. That's why they rape and kill.
So should we be aborting criminals then instead of locking them up in jail?
We can educate them.
We could educate an unborn child. I mean, a fetus inside of the womb is able to listen to music, knows their parents' voices, can acknowledge simple sounds and movements. And yet you're making it sound like they're an animal that has no right to anything. I mean, even after they're born, they're still as dumb as an animal by the terminology that you've given us here today. Why don't we just start murdering them all after they come out of the womb? I mean, the criminals are the same way. They're uneducated. They're animals. Using the same terms that you just gave me. Why aren't we murdering them? I mean, if it's ethical in your opinion, to abort them before 9 months, what's the difference to abort them after 9 months? Did they magically become a human animal? Or what's the difference? What kind of, I mean, is a baby an animal or is a human being an animal? I would say, terminology-wise, we're all animals, living, breathing.
Yeah, so brand newborn baby is not a human yet. Because to be a human, what it means to be a human is ethics, morality. That's it. That's what distinguishes us humans from other animals like tigers, bears. They don't have any ethics. Okay. So yeah, newborn baby, maybe adoption, right? Yeah.
How do you know they don't have no ethics?
What animals?
A bear.
Bear? They kill each other and
They're very territorial. So are humans.
Yes.
I mean, I'll kill someone that's on my property, especially if they're trying to steal something or breaking into my house. I'll guarantee pull out my gun. What's the difference? I mean, a bear is very territorial. They protect themselves. They protect their young. They don't like to be invaded upon. Mm-hmm. They appear to have morals. I mean, they don't try to go out of their way to have human contact, but humans seem to encroach upon their natural territories over and over and over again. Centennial Park's a good example over the last month of that happening. I mean, 5 bears, record-breaking 5 in 1 month's time, were euthanized because of human beings. Who's worst here? Is it the ones that are living inside of the camp themselves, or is it the bears? I mean, the bears seem to be doing their natural course in life, and they've got these human animals, the homeless camps and all of that have invaded upon their territory, their space, no different than a criminal coming into my house and breaking in. Why aren't we just euthanizing them instead of the bears?
Oh, okay. So like bear, let's say there is bear right now, okay? grizzly, and if they're cute, I love bears. Uh, because they're so cute, I want to feed steak to this grizzly. Grizzly will eat steak, but you will just appetizer. This grizzly will eat me. Bear will not thank me for giving a piece of steak. No, he will eat me. That's animal, okay? Yeah, they bite the feeding hand. They don't just bite the feeding hand. They eat the feeding person. That's what bears are, okay? Criminals are same way. If I give criminal $100, do you know what this criminal will do? Criminal will kill me and take all my money. They don't thank. They're animals. Animals have no ethics. They don't thank the feeding hand. No, they eat the feeding hand. They kill the feeding hand. That's bears, and they're murderers. Rapists. They're animals because they never got ethics education. They never became a human being. Okay? Yeah, so.
But then you're equating them to unborn babies. I mean, they're animals. I mean, I'm going to bring this back full circle here for where this all began again.
Okay.
And so you're for abortions all the way up to 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the baby at 9 months, even though they're not born, can't feel?
Their brain, like central nervous system, yeah, they do feel, so stem cell, that's my main point. It saves human lives, okay, and yeah, it's terrifying concept to.
Well, isn't that why we got organ donation and then we do things like that already? I mean, if I was to ever pass away, I know I'm an organ donor. My body could be mutilated for science, so to speak, or reused, give portions of my body to different people to help prolong their lives. I mean, fetal syndrome of dying just after birth and stuff like that is not uncommon. It does happen. Why are we not, SIDS is the word that I was looking for there.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we make it mandatory or by law that says that those bodies, so that we're not just willy-nilly just killing people in the womb? Why don't we just make it a law that if your baby passes away from causes that their body is given to science, given to the stem cells and everything else? So what's preventing it from happening?
So
I mean, the way you're making it sound, just because it's inside of the womb and gets ripped out by a pair of thongs reaching in at a 9-month-old baby and crushing its skull and ripping its head off of its shoulders just to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? I mean, you're one versus the other. The one's okay to do it too, but the other one isn't.
Yeah, I understand it's a horrible, I mean, terrifying concept to, so you abort a fetus and then you extract the stem cell and in order to save somebody else. But that's what it takes to save human life. Like children's lives, adults' lives, they need stem cells, okay? That's what it takes to save real lives, real humans, okay? And like brain surgery, open heart surgery, it's terrible to look at. But that's what it takes to save human lives, okay? There is a cost, okay? We have to pay the price to save human lives. That's what it takes to save human lives, okay? Doctors, yeah, open heart surgery, yeah, nobody want to look at that, right? Sometimes amputation. That's what it takes, is to save human lives sometimes, okay? So
I don't know. When they did surgery on my heart, and I got to watch the scope going through and the what they had done. I got to watch it all on the video screen of my own heart being operated on. I thought it was pretty darn cool. So I don't know about other people, but I thought it was pretty neat to be able to watch someone inside of my body literally playing around with my heart. I've been through the process twice now in over the years, and knock on wood, hopefully I don't have to go through it again. It's been about 13 years now since the last time I had a heart attack, but
So it's like this. Let's be realistic. Like, even if abortion become illegal in America, there will still be abortions. Okay, so you cannot eliminate abortion by law. Just like you can never eliminate guns by law. I'm pro-gun, by the way. Okay, so yeah, okay. So there's demand for abortion. Then let's use it. Stem cells from aborted fetus. That's good business. Let's make money. Let's create jobs. Let's save people's lives with stem cell therapy. Eh? Yeah, so just connecting the dots, pipelining different like supply and demand situation. Because some of my background is also in economics. Okay, I studied economics on my own, and I took some classes. Okay, with supply and demand, you have to connect the dots. Just pipe, just two different sectors. People who want abortion, yeah, and you have aborted fetus. Okay, they have stem cells, aborted fetus, and some people need stem cells. It has to genetically match. We need stockpile of stem cells, a lot of them, because everybody has different genes, genetically different, right? You have to genetically match that stem cell and this patient. Okay, yeah. So that's the solution. Okay, we are trying to save human lives. I know it sounds very ironic. Huh? Yeah. So, hey, can we take 5 minutes break, please?
yep.
And some vocal rest.
All right, if you're just tuning in right now, take a moment, like and share this. I am going to start a video. This video is going to play a couple times today to make it all the way through it. It's about 12 minutes long. We're going to take a short break, though, but I would like to, this video deals with PACs, political action committees, and Jennifer Lawrence learns how to legally bribe politicians on this video. And it's something that we need to be paying attention to, especially in this upcoming election, because folks like Lisa Murkowski, ex-Governor Walker, Les Guerra, and all of those other political far left-leaning names that are running the radical left, they are using PACs, political action committees, to fund their financing of their campaigns. You know, we all voted to get rid of dark money, but unfortunately, they did absolutely nothing to eliminate the dark money that comes in from these PACs, the political action committees. And this video does an extremely good job of breaking that down for all of us to watch. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch that on over to it here, and so that you guys can all watch it here while we take a short break, and we'll be right back. Something happened to my mouse. It disappeared.
So, in 2011, Stephen Colbert stunned America by starting his own super PAC, and he showed just how thin the line is between bribery and legal political contribution. Well, it's 7 years later, and we want to check in on how all of that is going. So please welcome Colbert's personal lawyer for his super PAC, former Federal Election Commission chairman and current president of the Campaign Legal Center, Trevor Potter.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Trevor. I'm just going to jump right in. That's okay with you. So I'm like into the politics thing, and I'm a Hollywood elite. So as a Hollywood elite, if I want all of the influence I can buy, but I'm sure that there are like limits. So if I wanted to give as much money as I wanted, it would be like $1,000 would be the limit or something, right?
Well, the legal limit today you can give directly to a candidate is $2,700. However, before you get nervous that that's not enough, you can actually give as much as you want to help the candidate. You just give it to a super PAC, a single candidate super PAC, that can then go and spend it on behalf of the candidate's election. The Supreme Court in the Citizens United case struck down existing limits and said that corporations, individuals could spend as much as they wanted to help candidates because that sort of independent spending could never be corrupting.
But that money isn't going to a candidate, right? Like they don't have any say in how that money is being used, because that would be a slush fund, money laundering, right?
So Justice Kennedy and the Supreme Court majority assumed that this spending was going to be completely independent of candidates and parties, that these groups would operate as outsiders. But that's not how it has turned out. Candidates nowadays actually create their own independent super PACs before they become candidates, and then they raise money for these super PACs, and then once they become candidates, using your $1 million or whatever, they can go ahead and spend it to elect the candidate.
Pretty clever. But once they become candidates, then they can't touch any of it.
Well, the first thing to remember is it takes them a surprisingly long time to become candidates. You might recall Jeb Bush in 2016, who spent something like 6 or 9 months going around the country, traveling at the expense of the super PAC, raising tens of millions of dollars, saying he was thinking of exploring the possibility of considering whether to become a candidate. So he did all that and then jumped into the race.
Of course. But once they sign all the paperwork, then they have to stay away from super PACs, right?
Wrong.
Okay.
There are lots of ways that they can and do stay in contact. For example, the Federal Election Commission has said it is all right for candidates to appear at super PAC fundraisers, either to raise small amounts or to be a featured or honored guest. Now, that may not sound like a lot of contact with you, but the FEC has said that you can have one of these honored guest fundraisers with as few as 2 guests. So it's kind of a private fundraiser. And the candidate can thank people for giving and ask them to help support the work of the PAC. In addition to that, the FEC has come up with what's called the 2 hats rule, which means you can be the principal fundraiser for a candidate and then also be the fundraiser for the super PAC.
Okay, so if there's a wall between candidates and super PACs, then if I, as a political donor, throw big money at a super PAC, my personal politician does not get to decide how it's spent, right?
Well, that is technically correct, except that the people who do decide how to spend it are usually, in this scenario, the former campaign manager of the candidate or close friends of the candidate. And one of my favorite examples, it was actually the parents of the candidate who are running the super PAC. They also can share what are called common vendors, so they can use the same consultants. So basically, I think it's useful to see it as the other pocket on the candidate's coat.
Okay, but if the candidate tells the super PAC exactly what to do with the money, that's illegal?
That would be illegal.
Okay.
However, first they have to get caught, and then the FEC has to have a majority vote on whether to investigate it. And as you may have heard, the FEC has basically deadlocked on all of this in the last couple of years.
So if candidates or PACs break the rules, what is the punishment? Like a really big fine?
Well, the FEC has never actually punished a candidate for coordinating with a super PAC. They've never actually seen an example of that.
Oh, they've never seen it. They must be blind, bless their hearts. Okay, so let's say the worst thing happens. My candidate has really blown it. They weren't testing the waters. They got caught explicitly telling a super PAC what to do. And the FEC just stormed down on them with power and fury. What kind of fines are we talking about?
Oh, in that scenario, the first thing to remember is the candidate is almost never fined. The candidate's committee or the super PAC or the treasurer might be, but not the candidate. Then, if the FEC levies a fine, which, by the way, the candidate or the super PAC has to agree to pay voluntarily, and if they don't agree on that, then the FEC has to take them to court and get a court order, and that takes time. But if they do all of that, then the problem is, will the FEC actually collect it? And there are lots of fines out there that have been levied that the FEC never got around to collecting.
Got it. So I can give as much as I want to a candidate super PAC, and there are no repercussions for my candidate. But what about me? Am I listed as the main donor of this disgraced candidate?
Well, if you didn't have a good lawyer and you gave directly, then yes, you would be listed as the donor to the super PAC. But if you have a good lawyer, they will say to you, well, you could give through an LLC. Maybe you already have a couple. If not, you could create one, and it can make the contribution and be listed as the donor. The LLC could be named anything you want. You could name it after your cat. Do you have a cat?
God, no. But I have a dog. And her name is Pippi Lawrence Stocking.
Ah, okay. So all the public will know is that an LLC named the Pippi Lawrence Stocking LLC gave $1 million to this super PAC. Now, your lawyer will tell you to keep it going and have it do a few other things to make sure that's okay, but you could do that. Your other option would be to take your $1 million and give it to one of these tax-exempt nonprofit groups, what we call a dark money group, a C4 or a C6. They don't disclose their donors. So you give them the money, you say you want it to go to the super PAC, you're supporting this candidate, they can go right ahead and either spend it themselves or give it to the super PAC, and your name will ever be out there. The Supreme Court, again in Citizens United, said don't worry about all this new spending because it'll be fully disclosed and everyone will know where the money is coming from. But that has not turned out to be the way they expected it to be.
Okay. So let's say we've weathered the storm. My candidate is elected, but I want to buy more politicians. Let's say you're a politician. Could I, and I don't want to get too technical here, but could I just get you a bunch of gifts and bribes to get you to do stuff?
Well, depending on who the politician was, yes.
Really thought we were going to get a note
Former
there.
Governor McDonnell of Virginia just had his conviction for taking 11 different bribery charges overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. I'll bet that surprises you.
I am very surprised. So I could just get you a Rolex, a vacation, just pay for your daughter's wedding?
Literally all of those things were taken by Governor McDonnell. A wealthy businessman gave him and his family more than $170,000 worth of gifts and loans and wedding parties. Governor McDonnell's lawyers argued that that wasn't a bribe because what he did in return didn't count as a, quote, official act. He only introduced the businessman to state officials and asked them to meet with him and held events for the company in the governor's mansion. And the Supreme Court bought that argument. They said that was not a bribe, but constituent services. And since in another case, the Chief Justice referred to out-of-state contributors to candidates as constituents, I guess that means that every wealthy favor seeker in the country with a checkbook and a pocket full of Rolexes can go right ahead.
Okay, so this is all really disturbing. Bribery is legal in America. Corruption is legal. So Trevor, are we at a tipping point? What is it going to take for us to get to a point where we were post-Watergate, where Congress felt obliged to take bold measures to unrig our system?
I think we are at a tipping point. The good news is it's not too late. If you look at polls out there, it's the right moment. If you look at polls out there, About half the people say we should completely get rid of the current campaign finance system and put in a new one. And about 40% more say we should just make major changes in the system. So everybody is on board with doing something. Congress could pass bills that are sitting there, like the Honest Ads Act, that is trying to deal with secret foreign money in elections, the Disclose Act to deal with all this dark money. There's states and cities around the country that are doing interesting things. Seattle has this new citizen voucher program, and other places could adopt that. The FEC could update its disclosure rules, enforce the existing laws, and crack down on this non-coordination coordination racket. Now, that may not all happen today, but I think we have to work together to make it happen tomorrow.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So, Nomiki, why is inflation the worst it's been in 30 years, and what's Joe Biden doing about it, and why isn't it working, whatever he is doing about it?
I don't have to tell you or your viewers that these are unprecedented times. I mean, this pandemic, the longer this pandemic stretches out, the more unequal distribution of vaccines are dispersed globally, it's going to affect our supply chain. We rely on so many different goods from different parts of the world that do not have access to the vaccine, not to mention that there are still people in our country who refuse to take the vaccine. The longer the pandemic stretches, the more the economy is going to be affected. It is not the consumer's fault. You know, they have money in their pockets, they want to spend it. It is the supply chain. Frankly, Larry Summers, one of those suits in Washington, is 100% false, and he has been in the past. They were wrong in 2008, and the way to shift that was, of course, to stimulate the economy, because if we didn't, Dan, we would have been into a long global recession. We have to get through this pandemic. People need to take the vaccines. We need to do this quickly so that we can all have access to the goods that we deserve to spend during the holidays, because it's been a very long 2 years. Very long 2 years.
Right.
And it could have been done faster had President Trump taken this seriously. Instead, he and his cronies, his billionaire cronies, are making a lot of money off of disaster capitalism, you know, limiting supplies in an unfair way that hits your viewers, the people who are watching this right now. You know, they don't deserve to suffer the consequences of bad
I
leadership.
dispute that point strongly, that President Trump didn't take it seriously. I mean, when he instituted a travel ban, they
Boy, I bet you guys are all going. I saw his lips moving, and I didn't hear a darn thing coming out of him. And that's what happens when you forget to turn the microphone back on. Shame on me. You got to sit there to listen to Dan Bongino and his guest there, but you're seeing us in front of you. I am here live right now with Huhnkie Lee, who is running for U.S. State Senate. And it's been an interesting first hour today. We've gone on many different topics, from abortions to the southern border and the LGBTQ community, ANWR, the Gulf Coast. And we're going to touch base on a little bit more during this second hour. Hopefully you enjoyed that video that was playing in the interim there about PACs and dark money, and why ballot measure 2 failed us Alaskans, because it did not get rid of the dark money. In fact, it is going full bore and strong within our state. Lisa Murkowski has received millions through the PACs that are out there, that are currently running the paid for advertisements of paid for actors, whether they want to admit it or not. These people are definitely working for the swamp and not for Alaskans. Whenever you see an ad running for Lisa Murkowski right now, I'll guarantee you, those folks have received something on the back end from her to be able to give those kind of endorsements. because I know that especially like the Alaska Natives here in Alaska, they no longer support Lisa Murkowski, and they are not going to be voting for her this year in droves, which doesn't surprise me one bit because she sold them out along with all the other Alaskans that are here in our state, like myself, born and raised here. I am 100% Alaskan through and through. And we are here again today with Huhnkie Lee, who is running for U.S. State Senate. And let's just jump right on into it here. We've got the big issue right now of what is a woman. Seems like nobody out there can be able to give us a definition what a woman is anymore. In fact, they're trying to change it in the Webster Dictionary and the Thesaurus and all those others out there, trying to redefine what a woman is. Let me ask you, Huhnkie, what is a woman?
A woman is a woman if that person is born as a woman, and there are a lot of confusion. LGBTQIA, gay alphabet soup. It's just confusion about. I guess they're trying to try something new, experiment. It's a human experiment, which is not ethical at all. So I'm against LGBT ideology, and I have converted so far about 100 people. They used to be LGBT, now they're straight. Okay? How do I do it? I just tell them, don't be LGBT, be straight. They ask me, why, Huhnkie? Why? I tell them, because I told you so. It's that simple. And then they say, but I want to be gay, I want to be lesbian. My response, what you want is not important. What's important is you do the right thing. Again, I'm a leadership material. I'm not like Senator Lisa Murkowski. She's not leadership material, she's leadership. Just go along mainstream majoritarian, okay? She say whatever her campaign donors want her to say. She has no backbone. Same goes with Miss Kelly Chibaka, her challenge, okay? Miss Kelly Chibaka, her problem is she is too dependent. She depends too much on money. Trump, Republican Party. She is not a leader. Kelly Chibaka, she's leady, just like Lisa Murkowski, okay? I'm not like that. I'm a leader, okay? I correct people when they do something wrong. Huh? I don't take any donation money. I'm truly an independent person, and there's nobody like me this year. In the future, you be the president, you be the senator, governor, okay? But you're gonna do it right. I'm an educator first, politician second, okay? I interact with very young people. Many of them are under 18 years old in social media, okay? And I wanna be the good role model, mentor, okay? I may lose a lot of votes because I'm against LGBT ideology. That's so good. It's not that important that I get elected. What's important is I become a good. What's more important than election is education. Okay, that's more important. So, younger generation, they'll be the future of humanity. I educate them. Sometimes I discipline them, punish them. Okay, yeah, I block them sometimes when they misbehave. Zoom meeting. Many times I kick them out because they're misbehaving. And let them learn. It's like a grounding, time out, that kind of stuff. I do that, routine basis. Okay? So tough love, soft love, balancing. Let them come back and they behave better. Okay? I do that like on a daily basis.
So how many sexes are there?
2.
2?
Yeah.
You sound pretty confident in that there. Are you sure there's not 100? That's what we keep hearing, or 60, or...
Yeah, they're just confused. They need to be educated. The right way. Yeah.
So you got Matt Walsh. He's a children's author. He's also a very conservative talk show host for the Daily Wire. And he wrote a book out there called Johnny is a Walrus. And have you taken the time? Have you seen the book or heard anything about it?
No.
So basically, it's Johnny. He's a boy, and he wants to become a walrus. He thinks he's a walrus. And the book breaks down the ideology that is behind becoming a walrus, from eating raw fish to taking his legs and sewing them together and turning them into fins. His arms, making him look kind of more like a chicken so that he's got his arms to be able to be locked together, and transformational surgery that needs to be done, and all these different puberty blockers and everything else. And you brought it up about our youth and the school system that is out there, just briefly with what you were describing just a second ago. Where do you stand when it comes to our school system and teaching our children that this is their quote-unquote safe space to come out in, and we are not going to tell your parents what you are saying and doing here in school? Do you agree with that kind of philosophy, or where do you stand at it within our school system itself?
So, the way I grew up in South Korea, like basically K-12 in South Korea, is that we did not have any choice of classes. We had to learn everything. I don't know about now in South Korea because I don't live there anymore. Okay, but back in the 80s, 1990s, all the school subject matter that were mandatory. Okay, so including exercise program, we had to run. We had to learn sports. We took exam. And it was tough, but we had to learn English. We had to learn mathematics. We even had to learn how to sew with needle.
So, in 2011, Stephen Colbert stunned.
We had to learn it. And I do my own sewing with my button or some ripped. I do my own sewing, okay? So, I think it's a good thing that those essentials are mandatory. I mean, I don't like critical race theory. I don't like LGBT education. They're not proven things. What's proven that test of time and space? Yeah, mathematics, physics, biology, painting, singing, dancing, martial arts. Those are good knowledge. Learn how to run, push up, sit up. Yeah. Those education have to be mandatory, okay? And also gun safety lesson, very important. And acting class. Acting is so therapeutic, okay? Children need to learn how to do acting, okay? And it's fun. And it's very therapeutic. Writing, how to write essays, very important education. Okay, so foreign languages, very exciting, right? Yeah.
Are you for school choice, where the money follows you, or are you for the way the system currently is, to where they spend it wherever they think that money needs to be going to? As in, say, the current system before school choice was available is they dictated all of this money gets one big lump sum, and it didn't follow the child. And now the Supreme Court has ruled that money now can follow the child no matter where they want to go and get their education. Our own Supreme Court here in Alaska has even gone as far as to help define it, and they have gone as far as to tell our school systems that don't worry, not all of the money that should be following the child is going to follow the child to wherever they want to go. Only a small portion of it, we're going to make sure that the public school system still receives the bulk of the money that is being deviated or being spread out between all of them. Where do you stand at with that? Do you think it should 100% follow the child no matter what school they go to? Or do you think the Supreme Court of Alaska is correct in their ruling saying that a portion of that money is allowed to be used elsewhere, but the rest of it's going to stay within their own private public school organization that we call public school?
I like choices. I like freedom. So it's about equity, right? Whether it's private school or public school. Yeah, let's be fair to both. Also homeschool too, and it's great diversity that we have in America. So, but when it comes to money, okay, I continue to learn like about history, more foreign languages, and on my own time, and mostly it's myself on internet, right? Yeah, we have Wikipedia, YouTube. I also learn martial arts in YouTube. Just type what martial art lessons in YouTube, or martial art movie clips in YouTube. Yeah, I just imitate professional martial artists, actors. Foreign languages, yeah, YouTube and the free websites online. So education technically is not supposed to cost that much money. Okay, what's important in education is discipline. Yeah, when I was in the U.S. Army, yeah, we had to do push-up, sit-up, running, 2-mile run stuff. Okay, mandatory. Okay, that's great, and also it doesn't cost any money. Push-up, sit-up, 2-mile run doesn't cost any money. Also, in U.S. Army, I was junior enlisted soldier, E4 specialist, so we had to clean bathrooms. Okay, children need to learn how to clean bathrooms in school. That saves money. Eh?
Isn't that what the Chinese government in China does over there? That part of their daily curriculum is to do what we here in America pay janitors to do. Go around, mop the floors, clean the floors, empty the trash cans, show a sense of civic pride for the school system that they are in. Some would call it nationalism, or but to me, it was kind of like what you're describing there. It shows a sense of pride for your school system and for your school. And I think you're right in that regards, that America really does need to change how it provides an education. We've got the worst education in the nation. Alaska is ranked number 50, and that's if you go by how many states we have. They are ranked 52 if you include Puerto Rico and Guam. And then if you look at many of the third world countries, and this does not include places like China or Japan or anything like that, but actual third world countries that are ranking better than we do here in Alaska for their education for their students. What should we be looking to do with our schools here in Alaska? I mean, what active roles do you think you can play on a national level, and to be able to help make it so that we go from being number 52, worse than third world countries, to ranking within the top 20 again? Any ideas?
Yes. So I'm very proud of Alaskan children. They learn gun safety lesson from their parents. There's no mass. Okay, out of 50 states, there are 3 states in past 10 years no guns mass shooting happened. Only 3 states, and Alaska is one of them. One of 3 states in America, Alaska is one of 3 states that did not have mass shooting incident past 10 years. Okay, I'm very proud of that.
Why do you think that is?
Because children learn how to use gun safely from their parents. Gun safety education. Okay, And Alaskan children also learn how to do fishing, hunting, camping, hiking. They're great. Okay, so I mean, those are the things that they cannot be tested with pencil and paper on the exam, right? So I want to give them credits. Okay, teachers and parents in Alaska, I think they're cool. Okay, so now when it comes to mathematics, biology, physics, chemistry, yeah, we can do better. The way I would approach it, I would do the exact same thing I do every day nowadays. Okay, yeah, Monday through Thursday evening, I did do this Facebook Live. It's not a Zoom meeting per se, but it's just me talking basically. Okay, at night after I come back from work. Monday through Thursday. It's called Humanology. Okay, Humanology. It's Facebook Live, and I upload to the video to Vimeo.com. Okay, yeah. So there, I lead by example. Okay, we do mathematics. I do mathematics with whiteboard and pen, marker. Yeah, I do mathematics to induce also physics, history, foreign languages. To induce young people that how exciting mathematics can be. Okay? Yeah.
As one of my favorite television shows that I like to watch, that's more of a funny in a lot of ways. The librarians, they would call it mathematics. She's one of the characters that's on it that has what they classify a brain grape growing inside of her head. It's a tumor. But she has all five senses that are just phenomenal, and you kind of watch this display screen pop up, and then she's doing all of her math and equations and everything else, and doing the swiping motions to this. We've got an education system right now that does not focus on an actual education. More of an indoctrination is what we've got within our school system. We got the North Star School District School Borough, we got the Anchorage School Borough, and we've got the Juneau School Borough that has all put in within their teachings critical race theory. It is being taught within the systems right now within those schools, school boards and their school districts. The two areas that have been avoiding it and doing a very good job at that is the Mat-Su Valley and the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District. That are the only two that I've noticed that have done a really good job of making sure that that critical race theory and critical thinking like that for theories is not making its way into the school systems. But we got places like Palmer here in Alaska that is becoming more and more radical, and they are becoming more extreme. In fact, they'll be doing another march here next week for different subjects in it. They are trying, and they're going to be going in front of businesses, and they don't care what their language looks like, and they're promoting to children that this critical race theory is what is going to be taught. And that's what they want to have taught within their schools, that their children are racist for just being white. They're being taught this within the school systems. Unfortunately, like I said, the Mat-Su Valley is not allowing it, but there are different places that are trying to make that happen here. Where do you stand when it comes to the schools right now? You said mathematics, science, technology, reading. Where do you think the full core focus should be on, and do you have any idea of how to get it to go that direction?
Yes. So critical race theory is basically saying racism exists in America, and so it's very anti-racist kind of doctrine. But it focused too much on blacks. I love blacks, I love whites, I love browns, I love all races, but like George Floyd, like BLM, Black Lives Matter movement, I don't like that movement at all, okay? Because critical race theory, BLM, they tend to be black supremacists, okay? Black supremacism. And that's not going to help at all. That's not going to help blacks. That's not going to help anyone. Okay? So, what we need to learn, what we need to teach American children is about appreciation of all races, like whites, blacks, browns. Yeah, just appreciate each other, love one another, okay? Also, if I may add, I think it's important that we preserve the racial diversity. So I tell this to everybody. I got nothing to hide. 5% of time, yeah, mixed race marriage, that's good. But 95% of time, I want same race marriage if people are young enough to have children, okay? I want black to be black, purely black, white to be purely white, brown to be brown, okay? I think it's important that we protect and preserve the purity of each races. Again, 5% exception recognized, okay? Mixed race marriage. Yeah, mixed race people, they're beautiful, okay? I get it, okay? But only 5% of the time, okay? 95% time I want same race marriage if people are young enough to have children. Okay? It's about racial diversity. So, yeah.
Being born and raised here in Alaska myself, I was brought up in a family that color was never something we ever looked at. And it didn't matter to us what your skin color was, what your nationality was, where you came from. My dad was in a business that we catered to the tourists. And for us to, if you wanted to classify someone as being discriminatory, you would never have found it within our own household. But I find myself now today cringing when I see somebody of a different race that comes walking by me just because of what mainstream media has perpetuated out there, the big lie, the big myth. And it makes me want to say, you know, do I have to be careful? I should watch out. Is this person going to go ape on me, or is it, what kind of crazy crap are they going to do? What's going to happen next? And the scary part is I'm walking by white people as I'm thinking this. And then I get someone that is of an ethnic color that is different than white, and all of those animosities and fears completely disappear. I'm no longer scared anymore. You know, I'm standing next to a black person. Hey, buddy, how's it going? You know, it's a great day, isn't it? But I get next to a white person and I'm going, oh my God, do I gotta worry? Is this person gonna go all Karen on me because I think differently than they do? Or are they gonna call me a racist? We got currently a system that thinks that everybody is bigots, and the worst bigots that we have in our nation right now is the radical left. It isn't coming from the conservative side or people that hold fair to Midland, which I believe you're pretty staunch on the fair to Midland when it comes to your point of views. You're not on the radical left, and you're also not on the far right. You're not, or you're definitely not what I would classify as you are a moderate conservative. Am I right in my thinking towards the way you are, or am I putting words in your mouth there?
Yeah, I'm moderate conservative, kind of center-right. So, like, some issues I agree with Democrats, abortion, and also international trade. I like open trade. I don't like tariff. I like international trade. Okay, so that's part I agree with Democrats. And what parts do I agree with Democrats? Helping out poor people. We don't have too much, but yeah, charity. Yeah, I do agree with Democrats on that.
Well, charity actually, that's a big conservative thing there.
Okay.
Too. So I'm not going to label that one as Democrats. In fact, Democrats, in my opinion, when it comes to charity, it's how much money can I take out of your pocket to give to somebody else. That's their idea of charity, not how much they pull out of their own pocket and give to somebody else. That's the big difference between a conservative donating to charities and a Democrat donating to charities.
Okay.
Is whose pocket are they stealing it from? Is it my own, or is it someone else's?
Okay.
And but you're kind of, in some ways, you're sidestepping the issue there when it comes to the color and race, and why should we all be worried? I mean, I'm like I said, I get nervous when I'm out there walking around, and it's not from people of color. It is from the white people that are out there, because of what mainstream media keeps telling me out there. We're all bigots. We're all racist. We're don't care. We are just white power, or we're all January 6th compatriots that definitely need to be locked up and thrown in jail just because we supported or spoke fondly of Donald Trump. Myself, I'm a make Alaska great again type person, and I look forward to making Alaska great, and it doesn't matter who the political party that's in charge. So if I was right now to go and vote in this upcoming election, and why would I want to pick you over Lisa Murkowski or Kelly Merrick, or excuse me, not Kelly Merrick, but Kelly Chewbacca? What makes you stand out? What makes you think you're more electable than they are? Why would anyone, especially someone like me, want to vote for you?
So, Senator Murkowski, I mean, she has no backbone. She just go along whatever mainstream is. Like when Donald J. Trump, President Trump was popular, she was going along with Trump. When after January 6th, he became unpopular. So now she's against Donald J. Trump. She's like going along mainstream in America, right? That's Senator Murkowski, okay? Very obedient. Miss Kelly Chewbacca, she is 100% obedient of the Republican Party. So she doesn't have any backbone. She just she obeys Republican Party, no matter what they say. I'm independent, okay? Sometimes I agree with Republican Party, sometimes I agree with Democratic Party. I think on my own, okay? I'm a very strong person, okay? And I'm a leadership material, okay? Kelly Chewbacca, she obeys donors, Republican Party, Donald J. Trump. That's Kelly Chewbacca. Lisa Murkowski, she obeys her donors. She obeys mainstream American ideology, like LGBT. Okay, so I'm not that. I go against mainstream when mainstream is wrong. Okay, so I'm the kind of guy who can actually make big differences if I get elected. Okay. If I don't get elected, well, I keep on running. Every 2 years, I run for either U.S. President or Alaska State Governor or U.S. Senate. That's the only three things I will run all my life. Okay? Yeah, so I understand I sound very radical. I am. I am somewhat rebellious. Okay? But I love peace. I don't like wars. Just peaceful revolution, bloodless paradigm shift. I'm a very brainy guy. I'm a good student. I'm interested in everything, like history, foreign languages, science, literature. And I continue to learn those things. I come up with brand new theory too. And I write it and publish it in like social science research network. So if you Google SSRN space Huhnkie, you'll find those academic articles that I've written and published. Also Vixra, VIXRA, Vixra.org. If you type Vixra space Huhnkie, HUHNKIE, yeah, you will find some scientific articles I wrote and published there. Okay, and I also write like novels and essays. Medium.com. I publish in Medium.com. Medium space Huhnkie. You just Google it. You will find all those writings that I do. So yeah. So.
You must smell good. That darn fruit fly just won't leave you alone over there. So we current election coming up, August 16th. regular type primary, but a jungle primary because there is no political affiliations involved. You can vote for everyone in this upcoming election. We also have ranked choice voting happening for the very first time in the congressional special election to replace Congressman Don Young. We got 3 different candidates that have made its way through to the ranked choice portion of the election, coming down from 40-some people that were running in this election. The next one in August 16th is for the primary for the long-term replacement of Congressman Don Young. Same 40 plus are all running again. I'm expecting it to come down to the same 4 people in that ranked choice also. Where do you think ranked choice plays into your upcoming election right now? And do you think it gives you better odds of actually making it to the final 4? Or what's going to set you above and apart from everybody else? How many people are currently running for U.S. Senate seat right now, and how many do you think you got to beat out to make it into the top 4?
Yeah, so right now 19 Alaskans are running for U.S. Senate, including myself. And August 16, that's like a open primary, jungle primary. You get to select one person, August 16 primary. And then top 4 will go to November general election out of 19 people. That's November, that's ranked choice voting. So you vote for 4 people, number 1 choice, number 2, number 3, number 4 choice, right? And also there's write-in slot in general election. Okay, even if I do not make top 4, I still have a small chance of getting some write-in candidate. Okay, so I'm not going to drop out even if I do not make top 4. Okay, so yeah, so ranked choice is like this. Okay, it's a multi-step process. So you make number 1, 2, 3, 4 choices out of 4 candidates, and you can write in person who was not top 4. Yeah, you can make that person number 1 choice too. Okay, yeah. Now, step 1 of vote counting in ranked choice voting system is this: you only look at first choice. The computer machine, yeah, they only look at, in the step 1, you only look at the first choice. For example, let's say Lisa Murkowski gets 30%, Kelly Chewbacca gets 30%, Mr. Dustin Darden gets 30%, and Huhnkie gets 10%, hypothetically, okay? And then I get eliminated in the first round of counting. Why? Because I got the least number of votes. Now, people who voted for me as number 1 choice, now the computer machine look at their second choice. So people who voted for me, if their number 2 choice is Dustin Darden, then in the second round of counting, Dustin Darden get that vote. From the people who made number 1 choice as Huhnkie, number 2 choice as Dustin Darden get that vote. Okay? So yeah, and then next round, let's say Mr. Dustin Darden get 35% vote, and Ms. Kelly Chewbacca get 35% vote, and Lisa Murkowski get 30% vote. Okay? Then Lisa Murkowski get eliminated. And now they look at Lisa Murkowski's voters who voted Lisa Murkowski as number 1 choice. They look at the second choice of those voters. If their voter second choice is Huhnkie, then I'm already out, right? So they look at third choice. Okay, so that third choice is Kelly Chewbacca, then that vote go to Kelly Chewbacca. So that's the ranked choice voting system. I took a class about it, so yeah, now I understand how it works. It's kind of interesting concept, yeah.
It is. It's going to be total novel idea. I do not see it surviving past the second year that we are legally by law have to use it. I see big changes coming. Speaking of big changes, in November's election, we get to vote for a constitutional convention here in our state. Are you for or against the convention happening? And if you're for it, why? If you're against it, why not?
I'm a lawyer, so I have studied Alaska state constitution too. To be honest with you, I think it's very well written. Okay, it's designed modeled after federal constitution. I think the way Alaska Constitution is just fine, but I did listen to Alaskans, and they said, many of them expressed their opinion that it's about time to be changed, Constitution. So yeah, so it could be good, or it could be bad. It depends on how they amend Alaska Constitution, but I think it could be good, yeah.
All right. Well, personally, I'm all for the Constitutional Convention. Those that give the fear mongering out there saying that we shouldn't have it for various reasons. It's their fear mongering that makes me want to vote for it even more. One of the biggest issues that we have out there, and we see the political can being kicked down the road, is our PFD every single year. And by having the convention, we can, as Alaskans, finally be able to resolve the issue that our legislators can't do. Same as if you go to the U.S. Senate and there's issues there that need to be addressed on a national level, that you and Sullivan are the two votes and two voices that represent Alaska. The Senate is the only place that I believe has a bipartisan accounting for their actual votes and for what happens as a nation as a whole in comparison to, say, the House of Representatives, which disproportionately plays against for populations. The bigger your population, the more voice you have in the House versus the Senate. It doesn't care how many are live in your state. You get two voices and two voices only. Alaska has one of the things I want to bring up is we got the federal law that says marijuana is illegal, yet we ignore the federal law and we sell marijuana here in Alaska. I'm not sure you can express whether you're for or against that particular aspect of the drug itself. But if we are so willingly and easily ignore that federal law, what is stopping us from ignoring the federal laws for, say, Anwar, or for Pebble Mine, or Ambler Road Mine, or anything that is going on out there for expansion? I mean, Alaska is supposed to be a resource state. Our resources are supposed to be what pays for us to survive up here and for our government, and yet our resources are completely shut down. Should we, say, treat our resources the same way we treat marijuana and ignore the federal government and start doing what's best for Alaska? What say you?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So very, very interesting question. So marijuana, I mean, I don't do marijuana. Like, I smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol at home. Marijuana, I think what needs to happen is that the same kind of regulations that's regulating tobacco and alcohol, it should apply to marijuana, okay? Because marijuana needs to be regulated just like tobacco and alcohol. Marijuana is scientifically proven that it is bad for short-term memory formation, okay? And I do not think it's good for children. Like marijuana gummy bear, like marijuana cookie, it may be bad for children's brain development. Okay, so there's legitimate concern there. And but also, what I recommend marijuana farmers is that they need to genetically modify marijuana so that it does not affect short-term memory. Okay, like bioengineering basically. Okay, so marijuana, the THC, has this molecular structure. Yeah, change the structure such that it does not affect short-term memory. So that's what needs to happen. Okay, because without short-term memory, you cannot have long-term memory. Without memory, you cannot learn anything. Okay, so GMO, genetically modified organism, GMO marijuana. Okay, so they need to be developed. When it comes to ignoring federal law, to do pebble mine, oil and gas in Anwar and stuff like that, it could be difficult because, first of all, Alaska is like, out of 50 states, Alaska is number 3, where the percentage of federal land is big. The other 2 states, I know Nevada is first. Second one, I do not remember. Okay, so Alaska is 3rd state in 50 states where the most percentage of state land is owned by federal government. Okay, so if I become U.S. Senator, okay, I will be able to educate American public because of my high visibility and fame as a U.S. Senator. I say exact same thing I say now as a U.S. Senator, as a U.S. President, okay? I will be able to teach more number of people if I become U.S. Senator or U.S. President, okay? I'll be able to educate them that there's nothing wrong with fossil fuel. There's nothing to worry about global warming, climate change. The fossil fuel is good, okay? Carbon dioxide is not toxic, okay? There will be more carbon dioxide there and there will be more trees. The planet will be greener. So fossil fuel is the greenest energy. It will make our planet greener. Fossil fuel, okay? So like pebble mine, I'll be able to educate people. It's not going to kill a single salmon. Yeah, Iliamna Lake next to Bristol Bay, the biggest salmon fishery, I understand. We are not going to kill any salmon. The tailing the waste rocks, which is toxic, yeah, we build a road. Cement, asphalt cement, we build a road with that. Okay? Yeah. No salmon dies, okay? I make sure no salmon dies. But pebble mine, 500.
So wait a minute here. You're saying that we should use the tailings from the pebble mine and use it on our roads?
Yeah.
You know how many toxic chemicals are within those
Yeah.
tailings.
Yeah.
Are you for pebble mine?
Yeah.
You are.
Mhm.
Even though they say that it's going to destroy the Bristol Bay fishing area, that they say that. I don't say that, but they say that. You're still. Why are you for pebble mine? I mean, is there any pros out there that you could help maybe swing some people out there's opinions to why that you're for it and they should be too?
So, Prudhoe Bay, northern Alaska, oil and gas, right? That's about $500 billion worth of oil there, okay, oil and gas. Anwar, oil and gas, which is not developed yet, it's about $500 billion worth of oil and gas, okay? Pebble mine, which is not developed yet, $500 billion worth of gold, copper, palladium, molybdenum, okay? Combined together, we are talking about also clean coal in Alaska, about $500 billion worth of clean coal, okay? We are talking about $1.5 trillion, okay? With that kind of money, we can have free healthcare in Alaska. We can have free education, college education in Alaska, okay? We don't need federal money, okay? So Senator Lisa Murkowski's seniority in appropriation committee is worthless. That's not what Alaska needs. We don't need federal money. We need knowledgeable, smart, Huhnkie lead for U.S. Senator. Miss Kelly Tobacco, she's not knowledgeable person. She is just Republican Party puppet, mouthpiece. Her brain is empty, okay? Huhnkie Lee has all the solution, all the knowledge there is. Okay? That's why I'm running. Right? Yeah. So. Yeah.
So you kind of touched upon it there with your answer, but it still comes down to that should we be following what the federal guidelines are and completely shut down our resources? I mean, you kind of give a pro, we need to do what's best for Alaska, but then on the other hand, you kind of said that the federal government's got the control and we should listen to what they tell us we're allowed to and not allowed to do. And the reason why I brought marijuana into the issue is because it's against the federal law to sell, transport, or anything to do with marijuana here within our state, other than our state has legalized it, even though the federal government has criminalized it. Same thing when it comes to drilling in Anwar, the Pebble Mine project, the the road needed to get to the Ambler mine. You brought up clean coal. Alaska has the cleanest coal in the entire world. You can't find any coal that's cleaner than what we have, yet it's been completely shut down, and very, very little is being transported out of our state, nothing like what it used to be. Mm-hmm. They're celebrating the closure of one of the plants in Healy out of the two that were there, and ironically it's the plant that they forced to upgrade to all of the environmental things that they required to be put into that plant that caused it to be shut down in the first place. It had nothing to do with the plant was a failure or it wasn't making money or that it wasn't producing good, clean energy, so to speak. Coal as clean as you can get, I guess. Mm-hmm. Why should we be listening to the federal government? Our state compact says that we are supposed to be utilizing our resources to pay for our government, pay for our way of life, pay for our roads, pay for our education, and yet we're not. We're dependent upon federal handouts, no different than the welfare being collected by 33% of our state citizens here in Alaska to live their lifestyles. Why are we listening to the federal government?
So, marijuana's case is like this. Marijuana is just hugely popular in America, not just in Alaska, like California, all the states. There's majority mainstream ideology, marijuanaism. Okay, it's very popular.
Well, if we're ignoring those laws, though, why are we not doing the same thing when it comes to developing up our resources of oil and gas? I mean, we got enough LNG in the ground here in the state of Alaska that we can supply the entire world, not just Alaska, not just the United States, but the entire world for the next 100 years and never fully tap the LNG that we have sitting under the ground.
Yeah, so difference between marijuana and oil and gas is this, okay? Nowadays, oil and gas is not popular, okay? Like, people are concerned about global warming, climate change, so they want to replace it with renewable energy, like solar, wind, and so it's about popularity on ideology, like fossil fuel-ism is currently unpopular. Marijuana-ism is very popular ideology, okay? So, and politicians, they listen to the people, they obey people. I don't. I'm not the kind of politician. But most politicians, they obey the people because they want to get re-elected or elected, okay? So, but my attitude, my standpoint is this, okay? I believe in education, okay? So if I educate the people that fossil fuel is a good energy source and there's nothing to worry about global warming, then ideally people change their attitude. viewpoint about fossil fuel. When fossil fuel become popular again, then politicians, legislators, they will obey the people. And they will support fossil fuel development in Alaska. Okay? So that's the ideal scenario.
Repeat that last part again.
Okay. Ideal scenario is this. I become US Senator, and using my fame, visibility, I will educate Americans that fossil fuel is good, and there's nothing to worry about global warming and climate change. Ideally, Americans will change their mind, and so Americans become more supportive of fossil fuel. So fossil fuelism become popular ideology. After that, all the legislators in America, they will obey the people, and they will legislate the fossil fuel development in Alaska is a good thing, and that way we can legally develop fossil fuel in Alaska.
Well, we've tried the legal way. It hasn't gotten us anywhere. And then ex-governor Bill Walker, I mean, he tried to push the LNG, which I'm all for developing up our LNG. What I was against for everything that he was doing is he sold 75% of our LNG and gave it full control over to China. And that's where I drew the line. It's Alaska's gas. Alaskans gas to be developed for our benefit, not 75% for China's benefit, the other 25% to us. And but it still kind of boils right on down to it. We can't develop it because of the Green New Deal, the eco-terrorists out there that say that it's going to destroy the planet if we go and take this stamp sitting in the middle of a postcard stamp in the middle of a football field, and you're sitting way up in the nosebleed bleachers, and you got to tell me where that stamp is sitting at on that field, and that's Anwar. And that's the development that we have sitting out there right now. Here's this little tiny postage stamp in the middle of a football field, and you're up in the nosebleed bleachers without binoculars, and I want you to find that stamp out there in the middle of the field. I want you to point right to it, tell me right where to walk up to it and find it. And that's what we got going on. Why, again, are we listening to our federal government when it comes to developing up our resources? Why aren't we just flipping them the bird, giving them the big old middle finger and say, screw you, we are a resource state, we're going to develop our resources, we do it better than anywhere else in the world, not just the United States, but the entire world. Why are we listening to the federal government instead of doing what's best for Alaska?
Yeah, I understand the frustration, but the thing is, I'm not saying it's the right thing that's happening right now, but federal government does have power, and in law it's called preemption doctrine. Like basically, they're saying like federal statute is higher than state statutes, like. Kind of supremacy clause, that kind of stuff. Okay, so and they have this executive power, like Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, or like yeah. So they can basically legally stop the development. They have that kind of authority. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm saying it's the way it is. Okay, so also like we have U.S. Army Corps Engineering, right? And so like all different agencies, federal agencies. So if I become U.S. Senator, I will work with them to develop fossil fuel. Senator Lisa Murkowski, she's incompetent, and Ms. Kelly Tshibaka, she's incompetent too. Okay, so they won't be able to make any changes because they're not capable of making changes. I'm the only guy, okay, who can make this happen. So.
All right, last 2 final seconds here before I swap, and we're going to take a small break here. And we'll put back on Jennifer Lawrence learns how to legally bribe politicians. This is what happens in our Alaska elections every single year. We got the PACs, the political action committees, that donate hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars go into these PACs. And the money is just a legal way of bribing a politician to do what they want them to do when they get elected. And we see that play out in Juneau. Juneau happens to be the second most corrupt government in the United States. And the only reason why it is second is there is nobody in the United States that can beat what happens in D.C. But this is from our own federal government has declared that we've got one of the most corrupt governments in the United States here in Alaska. And this is no different. And this is how it all plays out, is by them using PACs, political action committees, donating hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. Lisa Murkowski is a good example of the millions of dollars that get put into the political action committees that gets donated to her every year. You're hearing the radio ads right now. You're seeing the television ads for her. These are paid for Alaskan actors that have been bribed to do these little speeches for her, and you'll notice down in the bottom it was paid by this PAC or that PAC, and it's not endorsed by the actual campaign. And this is how they get away with buying our politicians, bribing them to do what they want, controlling them, and using them to get what they want, not what is best for the constituents they're supposed to represent. Like here in Alaska, they're supposed to whoever gets elected for the U.S. Senate, like Senator Dan Sullivan, and or maybe here is future Senator Huhnkie Lee. And we don't need those PACs controlling our our elections. Even Dan Sullivan is guilty of using PACs. And a good example would be Les Guerra and ex-Governor Walker. They currently have hundreds of thousands of dollars rolling into them right now through these PACs, the political action committees that are fundraising for them and are getting ready to put out the political hit job, smear job campaign videos like we're seeing with Lisa Murkowski right now. And the same thing is going on within the congressional race for Nick Begich and Sarah Palin. Nick Begich is going after Sarah Palin, and they're using their PAC's money to do that, these political action committees, and they're independent of the actual candidate unless they are not running. So until they announce they are actually running and file the paperwork, they work hand in hand with these PACs. But the minute they get their vote, or they're put in their paperwork and says, I'm officially running, then that's when the dividing line starts. The PACs are separate from the actual campaign. But this video that I'm about ready to show you guys, this video breaks it down for you of how they get away with corrupting our elections on a daily basis, yearly basis. It's been going on for decades. This is what ballot measure number 2, the one that gave us ranked choice voting, was supposed to get rid of dark money, was supposed to eliminate the dark money that was in our elections, but it did absolutely nothing to eliminate the PACs, the political action committees. They don't have to report where this money comes from. They don't have to tell you who gave it to them to run these ads. Unlike the campaign, like Lisa Murkowski, if they donate directly to Lisa Murkowski, she's got to document your name. She's got to tell exactly how much money you gave her for her campaign as a donation. But if you donated to her PAC, her political action committee, and you donated, say, $100,000, they don't have to give your name away. And this video that I'm about ready to share with you, Jennifer Lawrence learns how to legally bribe politicians. It is a must-watch for all Alaskans. It is definitely worth your time. It's about 12 minutes long. We made it all the way through here on the last break, and we are going to share it again here for you. So take the time, watch the video. We'll be back here in just a little bit.
in 2011, Stephen Colbert stunned America by starting his own super PAC, and he showed just how thin the line is between bribery and legal political contribution. Well, it's 7 years later, and we want to check in on how all of that is going. So please welcome Colbert's personal lawyer for his super PAC, former Federal Election Commission chairman and current president of the Campaign Legal Center, Trevor Potter.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Trevor. I'm just going to jump right in. That's okay with you. So I'm like into the politics thing, and I'm a Hollywood elite. So as a Hollywood elite, if I want all of the influence I can buy, but I'm sure that there are like limits. So if I wanted to give as much money as I wanted, it would be like $1,000 would be the limit or something, right?
Well, the legal limit today you can give directly to a candidate is $2,700. However, before you get nervous that that's not enough, you can actually give as much as you want to help the candidate. You just give it to a super PAC, a single candidate super PAC, that can then go and spend it on behalf of the candidate's election. The Supreme Court in the Citizens United case struck down existing limits and said that corporations, individuals could spend as much as they wanted to help candidates because that sort of independent spending could never be corrupting.
But that money isn't going to a candidate, right? Like they don't have any say in how that money is being used, because that would be a slush fund, money laundering, right?
So Justice Kennedy and the Supreme Court majority assumed that this spending was going to be completely independent of candidates and parties, that these groups would operate as outsiders. But that's not how it has turned out. Candidates nowadays actually create their own independent super PACs before they become candidates, and then they raise money for these super PACs, and then once they become candidates, using your $1 million or whatever, they can go ahead and spend it to elect the candidate.
Pretty clever. But once they become candidates, then they can't touch any of it.
Well, the first thing to remember is it takes them a surprisingly long time to become candidates. You might recall Jeb Bush in 2016, who spent something like 6 or 9 months going around the country, traveling at the expense of the super PAC, raising tens of millions of dollars, saying he was thinking of exploring the possibility of considering whether to become a candidate. So he did all that and then jumped into the race.
Of course. But once they sign all the paperwork, then they have to stay away from super PACs, right?
Wrong.
Okay.
There are lots of ways that they can and do stay in contact. For example, the Federal Election Commission has said it is all right for candidates to appear at super PAC fundraisers, either to raise small amounts or to be a featured or honored guest. Now, that may not sound like a lot of contact with you, but the FEC has said that you can have one of these honored guest fundraisers with as few as 2 guests. So it's kind of a private fundraiser. And the candidate can thank people for giving and ask them to help support the work of the PAC. In addition to that, the FEC has come up with what's called the 2 hats rule, which means you can be the principal fundraiser for a candidate and then also be the fundraiser for the super PAC.
Okay, so if there's a wall between candidates and super PACs, then if I, as a political donor, throw big money at a super PAC, my personal politician does not get to decide how it's spent, right?
Well, that is technically correct, except that the people who do decide how to spend it are usually, in this scenario, the former campaign manager of the candidate or close friends of the candidate, And one of my favorite examples, it was actually the parents of the candidate who are running the super PAC. They also can share what are called common vendors, so they can use the same consultants. So basically, I think it's useful to see it as the other pocket on the candidate's coat.
Okay, but if the candidate tells the super PAC exactly what to do with the money, that's illegal?
That would be illegal.
Okay.
However, first they have to get caught, and then the FEC has to have a majority vote on whether to investigate it. And as you may have heard, the FEC has basically deadlocked on all of this in the last couple of years.
So if candidates or PACs break the rules, what is the punishment? Like a really big fine?
Well, the FEC has never actually punished a candidate for coordinating with a super PAC. They've never actually seen an example of that.
Oh, they've never seen it. They must be blind, bless their hearts. Okay, so let's say the worst thing happens. My candidate has really blown it. They weren't testing the waters. They got caught explicitly telling a super PAC what to do. And the FEC just stormed down on them with power and fury. What kind of fines are we talking about?
Oh, in that scenario, the first thing to remember is the candidate is almost never fined. The candidate's committee or the super PAC or the treasurer might be, but not the candidate. Then, if the FEC levies a fine, which, by the way, the candidate or the super PAC has to agree to pay voluntarily, and if they don't agree on that, then the FEC has to take them to court and get a court order, and that takes time. But if they do all of that, then the problem is, will the FEC actually collect it? And there are lots of fines out there that have been levied that the FEC never got around to collecting.
Got it. So I can give as much as I want to a candidate super PAC, and there are no repercussions for my candidate. But what about me? Am I listed as the main donor of this disgraced candidate?
Well, if you didn't have a good lawyer and you gave directly, then yes, you would be listed as the donor to the super PAC. But if you have a good lawyer, they will say to you, well, you could give through an LLC. Maybe you already have a couple. If not, you could create one, and it can make the contribution and be listed as the donor. The LLC could be named anything you want. You could name it after your cat. Do you have a cat?
God, no. But I have a dog. And her name is Pippi Lawrence Stocking.
Okay. So all the public will know is that an LLC named the Pippi Lawrence Stocking LLC gave $1 million to this super PAC. Now, your lawyer will tell you to keep it going and have it do a few other things to make sure that's okay, but you could do that. Your other option would be to take your $1 million and give it to one of these tax-exempt nonprofit groups, what we call a dark money group, a C4 or a C6. They don't disclose their donors. So you give them the money, you say you want it to go to the super PAC, you're supporting this candidate, they can go right ahead and either spend it themselves or give it to the super PAC, and your name will ever be out there. The Supreme Court, again in Citizens United, said don't worry about all this new spending because it'll be fully disclosed and everyone will know where the money is coming from. But that has not turned out to be the way they expected it to be.
Okay. So let's say we've weathered the storm. My candidate is elected, but I want to buy more politicians. Let's say you're a politician. Could I, and I don't want to get too technical here, but could I just get you a bunch of gifts and bribes to get you to do stuff?
Well, depending on who the politician was, yes.
Really thought we were going to get a no.
Former Governor McDonnell of Virginia just had his conviction for taking 11 different bribery charges overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. I'll bet that surprises you.
I am very surprised. So I could just get you a Rolex, a vacation, just pay for your daughter's wedding?
Literally all of those things were taken by Governor McDonnell. A wealthy businessman gave him and his family more than $170,000 worth of gifts and loans and wedding parties. Governor McDonnell's lawyers argued that that wasn't a bribe because what he did in return didn't count as a, quote, official act. He only introduced the businessman to state officials and asked them to meet with him and held events for the company in the governor's mansion. And the Supreme Court bought that argument. They said that was not a bribe, but constituent services. And since in another case, the Chief Justice referred to out-of-state contributors to candidates as constituents, I guess that means that every wealthy favor seeker in the country with a checkbook and a pocket full of Rolexes can go right ahead.
Okay, so this is all really disturbing. Bribery is legal in America. Corruption is legal. So Trevor, are we at a tipping point? What is it going to take for us to get to a point where we were post-Watergate, where Congress felt obliged to take bold measures to unrig our system?
I think we are at a tipping point. The good news is it's not too late. If you look at polls out there, it's the right moment. If you look at polls out there, about half the people say we should completely get rid of the current campaign finance system and put in a new one. And about 40% more say we should just make major changes in the system. So everybody is on board with doing something. Congress could pass bills that are sitting there, like the Honest Ads Act, that is trying to deal with secret foreign money in elections, the Disclose Act to deal with all this dark money. There's states and cities around the country that are doing interesting things. Seattle has this new citizen voucher program, and other places could adopt that. The FEC could update its disclosure rules, enforce the existing laws, and crack down on this non-coordination coordination racket. Now, that may not all happen today, but I think we have to work together to make it happen tomorrow.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
There, I fixed it this time. I remembered to actually look and see if my lips are moving. Can I hear my voice? Thank you all again for tuning in here today. Please like and share this video. If you haven't done that yet, take a moment right now and like and share the video. This is how we make sure Alaskans are educated about the issues that are going on within our state. I am currently sitting here with Huhnkie Lee, who is running for U.S. Senate for the state of Alaska down in D.C. And it has been a very interesting conversation that has been going on here today. And I do appreciate your time being here with me. Thank you, Huhnkie. And we were just about ready to start our third portion of this here today. And we're going to start this one out with a bang. And we're going to talk about white supremacy in America. And I am literally going to just toss the ball right over into Hunkie's court right now. And what would you like to talk about when it comes to white supremacy within the United States of America, or throughout the entire world as is playing out right now? We're told over and over again that white supremacy is rampant within our states, that it is everywhere and everyone is a white supremacist. We hear that label being tossed out there like candy on a daily basis. Yet, from my last understanding, if it wasn't for mainstream media, white supremacy wouldn't even be in the news. That's how fractional it really is within our country anymore. It just doesn't really exist, but with the very, very far fringed radicals that are out there. Unlike Black Lives Matter and Antifa, on the other hand, which is very widespread and it's the radical left out there that doesn't seem to ever make the national news. The mostly peaceful but fiery protest where thousands of police officers were injured, hundreds were shot, many lost their lives in comparison to what they want to say out there for January 6th. So white supremacy, where do you stand with it? What's your viewpoint? Why do you want to talk about this subject? And let's let you go at it. Here you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm a white supremacist. I'm also black supremacist, brown supremacist. I believe in supremacy of all races. Okay. So in social media, I have many friends, and many friends of mine are very young. Many of them are under 18 years old. And they say they are white supremacists. They say they are neo-Nazis. Okay. And so I try to mentor them. Okay. So like I'm that young, so they haven't maybe in their neighborhood. Maybe it's mostly white neighborhood. So maybe they didn't have a chance to interact with other races. Okay. I mean, I grew up in South Korea for like 18 years, 19 years. Okay. They're all Koreans. Okay. In South Korea, they're just Asians. Okay. So I was born in America, but grew up in South Korea. And then when I was 1997, when I was 19 years old, I came back to America and I started to interact with blacks, whites, browns, Jews, Arabs, Hispanics, natives, mixed races. They're very cool people. So it's about education, okay? I mean, like, there's nothing wrong that a group of people advocate for the right to white people. That's not racist. No, it's white people advocating for the rights of white people. That's not racist. That's racial advocacy group. Just like there are organizations that advocate for the rights of blacks, advocacy group for Asians. It's so cool. So white people advocating for white people's rights, that's not racist at all, though it's not. Okay? Yeah, so that's what I think.
So do we have a rampant white supremacist mentality going on within the United States? And you kind of whitewashed it, so to speak, when you bring up supremacy. We see it on a daily basis. Yes, black supremacists, white supremacists, Asian supremacists, Alaskan native supremacists. We're all, for our own ethnic backgrounds, a supremacist because we want to advocate for our group, so to speak, for no better words, the color of our skin. Last time I checked, I bled red just like you do, and I know we're not of the same ethnicity as each other. I am a white person. You are an Asian person. But when it comes right down to it, you take away our skin, you bring us down to our bones and what's underneath our skin, and we're made up of the exact same stuff, the same color of blood. It may not be the same blood type, but we're the same color, or we both bleed red. And when you say supremacists, are you trying to tell me that no matter who, what, where you are, you're all a supremacist?
So, like in America, like neo-Nazist, not just America, Europe too, neo-Nazist group, white supremacist group, there are 99% of them are very peaceful, loving people. It's just 1% maybe use some violence as a methodology, but the same can be said, like 99% peaceful, 1% violent. That's like any other group in the world, like Islam. Okay? 99% of Muslims are peaceful, 1% use violence. How about Christians? The same way. 99% Christians peaceful, 1% violent. BLM, 99% peaceful, 1% violent. Okay, so white supremacy, neo-Nazi, I mean, when it comes to Hitler, Adolf Hitler, I mean, it's like this, okay? Some people worship Adolf Hitler. There's no different from some people worship Genghis Khan, Napoleon, Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great. They killed many people. They're like imperialists. They killed many people. Okay? So I'm sorry that happened in the history. Like, I love Jews. I'm not anti-Semitic. Holocaust happened and I'm very sorry. Okay? But Napoleon, Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, they are no different from Hitler, okay? They did commit genocide, yes. But people are okay with people worshipping, admiring Napoleon, Genghis Khan. They're okay with that, but they're not okay with some people worshipping, I mean, admiring Hitler, okay? I know why. It's because Napoleon, I mean, the Adolf Hitler is the last imperialist in massive scale. So still the historical memory is very fresh. And also there's video footage of Holocaust. But Hitler is no different from Napoleon or Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, okay?
So what's the difference between them and, say, Black Lives Matter? I mean, you look at Adolf Hitler, blonde hair, blue-eyed. They are the superior race. They are the only race that should live and have control and power. And I hear the same thing when it comes to Black Lives Matter, that black lives are all that matters. Black lives are the ones that you got black hair, you got black skin, and our black voices are all that matters out there in this world. You blue-eyed, blonde-haired people no longer matter anymore, and neither does anybody else that skin color doesn't match our own. Aren't we replacing just one kind of neo-Nazi, Hitler-like, Stalin theology and just replacing it with 3 pretty little letters of BLM?
Yeah, so I love black people, but Black Lives Matter movement, I think it's too extreme, okay? It's like they start to use capital B when they spell black, but small w, lowercase w when they spell white. So that's like black supremacism. Is like I don't like that. And when BLM happened, that during former President Donald J. Trump's administration, and I don't think he handled it very well. Okay, because Donald J. Trump, I mean, he is not nearly as knowledgeable as Huhnkie Lee. Okay, I'm more like scholar type. Academic, okay? So he does not have, Donald J. Trump, he has goods and bads, but he does not have the brain power.
Well, the famous lines of Joe Biden here recently, you know, there was good people on both sides, and that's very evident when it comes down to how they treat one side over the other, that if they're on the left side of the spectrum, those are good people. But if they're on the right side of the spectrum, they're bad people. Mm-hmm. But there was good people on both sides. And that's the same words that was used by the ex-president Donald J. Trump when he was in office, yet Joe Biden gets a free pass when he uses that terminology. But because Trump is a Republican, that free pass goes straight out the window. Are we basically replacing the old plantation life of slavery and everything else with the new form of democratic plantation of welfare and slavery to the states and their free handouts that they're given right now? I mean, is that just another way to systematically suppress us and call it all supremacists, that when it comes down to it, oh, well, these guys don't like the way we do things, they're a supremacist, but these guys like the way we do things, oh no, they're not supremacists, they're good people. So Black Lives Matter, are they really good people, or are they supremacists? Are they neo-Nazis, or aren't they? Are they Antifa, or are they not Antifa? And are we all living on a new Democrat plantation out there? I mean, I certainly feel like we are.
Oh, thank you for that insight, so sharing your insight with us. So yeah, it's like there's definitely similarity, like, you know, history repeats itself in different forms, but in that sense, it's pretty much the same thing. But I'm kind of optimistic when it comes to the future generation, because I do interact with younger generation very on a daily basis on social media. They're very, very smart people. Okay, I did not know until like earlier this year, because 2022 January, February, that's the time when I became more known in social media. Okay, so past like 7 months, I extensively interacted with young people, like under 18, late teens or early 20s. I was impressed how smart these people are. Blew my mind away. At first, I didn't even know. I thought they were in their 30s, because the way they talk, the way they write. They say they're like 17 years old. I'm like, oh my goodness, you are so young and you are so smart, knowledgeable. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about the future. I do not think there will be World War III, in all honesty, okay?
So you don't see another 1776 coming here in America anytime soon, or?
I do not think so. I think the world is getting more and more peaceful, although there's Russia-Ukraine war going on. Well, of course, we have mass shooting, pandemic.
Well, you brought up the war and going on with Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin and the Ukraine. From everything that I've done research-wise, read and about Ukraine prior to all this, weren't they just another branch of neo-Nazis to begin with? Before this war even started, they were just a bunch of white supremacists. Since that's the subject that we're on here, isn't that who Ukraine really is as a population, or am I reading into them too much?
Yeah, there's some Ukraine military group that kind of subscribe to neo-Nazism, and back in World War II, like Joseph Stalin, the Soviet Union, USSR, and they were fighting Hitler's Germany, World War II, right? So yeah, Russia do not like Hitler, and Ukraine, some Ukrainians kind of like sympathetic to Hitler. Yeah, there's some story there, but when it comes to imperialism, yeah, that's what Russia is doing, okay? Imperialistic expansion of Ukraine, because agriculture is very big in Ukraine, okay? So they create farmland in Ukraine. So I guess Russia want to conquer Ukraine in terms for money, basically, right? And yeah, I'm very sorry that's happening right now. But when it comes to America, we have mass shooting, pandemic. People like imitate each other, mass shooting on a weekly basis. And President Joe Biden, what's he doing? He go to foreign countries. Why?
Fist bumping terrorists in Saudi Arabia, saying, "Good job, good job. We finally put you back into power again. Since Obama left office, Trump took it away and started treating you all like second-class citizens again. And now that I'm back in office, we've given America back over to you once again. Way to go, fist bump." That's what I picture when I saw Biden in Saudi Arabia here recently and doing all that fist bumping there and celebrating giving America back to the terrorist countries once again, Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and whether we like it or not, we had better relations under Trump with all of them than we do with Biden. Biden just is back on an Obama apology tour, kissing their rings, handing over the interests of America to them, and China's right up in that list of people that they're just handing our money to.
Yeah, so like President Biden facing this problem, mass shooting weekly, mass gun shooting in a school, church, shopping mall. It's a big problem in America today, 2022, and President Biden has no idea to solve this problem, so that's why he's going to foreign countries to escape these problems, okay? So what's the solution for mass shooting then? If I were the president right now? Well, again, I'm a very controversial figure, okay? We'll use U.S. active duty military to guard popular places. U.S. military, I was in U.S. Army, okay? Every single U.S. other branch is pretty similar, okay? U.S. Army, let's just talk about U.S. Army, okay? Every single one of us is issued our weapon. It's either 9mm handgun if they are officers or sergeants. But junior enlisted soldiers, every single one of us issued M16, assault rifle, AR-15, okay? Yeah. I deployed to Afghanistan for 1 year, okay? Every single one of us carried M16 loaded 24/7 in the big base in Afghanistan, okay? And not a single mass shooting or gun incident happened. Why? Because we are trained in weapon, basic combat training, Army boot camp, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Oh, we used to have that here in our own school systems way back in the day. I mean, I'm old enough to remember having my gun sitting in a gun rack in the back of my pickup truck as I was going to school. And as a lot of people sit out there and joke and around and say, the principal would come on out at lunch hour and we would show off our rifles to each other, that this is what I've got and this is what I'm planning on going to use to go and do my moose hunting this year, or I'm going to go use to go do my bear hunting. And that we used to celebrate our weapons that we owned and carried, and we were very proud of that kind of thing. And now, of course, there are safe zones. You're not allowed to bring a gun into these areas anymore. And Vlad School District is a good example of what happens when you take the guns out of school and you allow a terrorist to go in and someone that is very sick in the head and goes in and starts murdering the innocent children. Yet I can't blame the anybody else other than the liberal far left policies that allowed this to happen. Video evidence proves that they could have had this done and over within the first 5 minutes of the altercation even starting. They could have had the killer and Vlad taken out. But the police didn't do anything. They sat on their hands and they sat back for an hour while people were being shot and killed because they were too scared to do anything, afraid of what the far left liberals would have said if they would have went in guns a-blazing and ended this at the very beginning of it all starting. What say you on that?
Yeah, it's a big problem, like Uvalde in Texas shooting and all the other mass shootings going on. So, like, if I ran for president 2020, obviously I didn't get elected, but hypothetically, okay, if I'm president right now and with this, well, first of all, I can prevent all this stuff. Why? Because what's important is mentorship education, okay? Young people, yeah, this common profile of these mass shooters, typically they're like 19 years old, 20 years old who graduate from high school or dropped out of high school, and then they didn't go to college, and so they don't have a job. So they live with their parents, grandparents. So they're not in school, they're not working. So their future look very bleak. So they're angry. So they're suicidal. And
Every single one of them had track records with the police, call-ins, reports, mentally unstable, worried about what they're going to do next, on drugs that was supposed to be taking care of it and not taking those drugs, and parents that allowed it to happen. I mean, dads that went and bought them the weapons, fought to get back everything the police took away from them, and says, "Oh no, they're all mine," and hands them right back to them again when it was all over with. Where the mental instability that is out there and no one is addressing it. They say they passed the red flag laws. Well, these red flag laws are already in place, yet they don't use them.
right. So yeah, if I'm president, I can prevent all this gun violence because I educate young people how to focus on education and career development, and also how to have a good hobby. Like it doesn't take any money. Okay, just go to YouTube, learn how to sing, dance, acting, and maybe musical instruments, and painting, sculpture. Yeah, yeah. So that's what people need. Okay, young people, education is the key. Okay, so they pursue their career, they stay in school, right? And then that kind of mentorship, and also, yeah, because I say it's exact same thing as the president of the United States. What I'm saying right now, right here, okay, and I'll be able to reach out to more people so that I educate them. Okay, yeah. So but if guns mass shooting happens, yeah, the quick solution, yeah, use active duty U.S. military personnel to guard big events like football game, churches, schools, because they're all weapon trained. They have bulletproof helmet, Kevlar, bulletproof vest, IOTV, and they have Humvees. Humvees, they have bulletproof glass. It's like this thick, okay, like 5 inches thick. Humvee bulletproof glass. They have guns. They can guard, protect American citizens. That's what I would do. Okay.
Isn't that what Mayor Bowser is currently asking them to do in D.C. with all those illegal immigrants that are being bussed into their state? I find it ironic that as long as it's not on their doorstep, they're all for illegal immigration. But the minute they get bussed to their doorstep and they find that their resources are being dwindled away and going out the door to cater to these illegal immigrants, that they're no longer happy with it. Now they want to call in the National Guard to take care of the problem for them, to get these people removed from their state. But if it's happening in Texas, oh, that's okay, that's just Texas. But I'm Mayor Bowser and I'm the head of DC, and because I say so, we're going to call in the National Guard, and that's what they're trying to do. What's the difference from what you're suggesting to have happen and what Mayor Bowser is now trying to do? When the agenda no longer matches what they had in play for so long.
Right. So there's concern about this Posse Comitatus Act, which is federal statute. It prohibits the use of active duty U.S. military personnel, domestic purposes. We understand the law, why the reasoning, rationale behind it, because basically the Posse Comitatus Act is geared toward prevention of dictatorship, or something like coup d'etat, dictatorship. That's what it's trying to prevent. But I think that law is outdated, and I think that law needs to be repealed and gotten rid of, because what's happening in U.S. military is this, okay? When there's no foreign war going on, U.S. military people, yeah, they're sitting idle. I know because I was in the U.S. Army. Other branches, same. They're just sitting there doing nothing. Other hands become devil's playground. Okay, so that's why a lot of suicide, murder, rape is happening in U.S. military. Okay, so let's give them jobs. They are already being paid by U.S. taxpayers' money. Let them protect Americans. Okay, yeah. It's not martial law. No, we're preventing mass shooting with U.S. active duty military personnel. So.
You mean like they should have done on January 6th when the call days beforehand to bring the National Guard in was rejected by Nancy Pelosi because the fiery but mostly peaceful protests by Black Lives Matter all summer long, shooting innocent people, killing police officers, attacking thousands and thousands of police officers and federal agents, destroying federal property, police stations, private and vehicles, businesses, robbing, looting. And, oh, wait a minute, that was just yesterday in California. But that was the entire summer of love in 2020 that occurred there. But shouldn't we have pulled in the National Guard back then?
In retrospect, using the benefits of hindsight, yes, we should have National Guard, active duty, a lot of military people. Yeah, they should.
So why is it acceptable to do it now and not then? And I don't mean that as in your argument that you're giving for the National Guard. I mean, why is Mayor Bowser now saying it's acceptable to bring in the National Guard? Why are we seeing anywhere the fence that is built around our capital? Where was this stuff during 2020? I mean, they say you say hindsight is 2020. Well, we had an entire year of hindsight, and it's not 2020. I mean, it was right there, black and white, straight in your face, smacking you every single day, saying, why are they doing absolutely nothing? But the minute they become in power, now it's all there. But when they weren't in power, oh no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. But the moment they take over control and they're fully in power, now it's acceptable to do it. Our military is decimated right now. I mean, they're losing people hand over fist. The people are no longer enrolling to become part of our military anymore. They don't want to be a part of that woke agenda that is being pushed through there. Why should we be bringing the National Guard? Where should the National Guard be being used right now?
Yeah, National Guard can help, like disaster scenario like flood, hurricane, earthquake, wildfire. Yeah, we can use National Guards, and also we can use active duty like Air Force, their planes and helicopters. We talked about wildfire like 2 hours ago, like wildfire in Alaska. What I suggest is this. Okay, so we can develop a missile that explodes fire hydrants. That's what we need. Invention. I have technological background. I know all these things. Okay, we have military contractors who are very smart people in America. They build bombs. Okay, now it will be very easy for them. They're getting a lot of taxpayer money go to U.S. military contractors. Okay, they're engineers and scientists, and they are inventors. They build bombs. Now we can redirect their project to build a bomb, invent a bomb that explodes fire hydrants, and we use Air Force jets to shoot those missiles to the wildfire area. Okay? Then we can put out wildfire very easily. Okay? When it comes to hurricane, tornado. What I suggest is this. Do you remember that Superman movie when Superman fly under the tornado and bring it back? I think we can explore that concept. Okay, so eye of tornado. Okay, let's experiment, okay, with a bomb. What if we should explode some, like maybe salt, whatever, on top of that tornado? Let's see what happens. Let's experiment, okay? Can it get rid of the tornado? Because we are disturbing the flow of the air, right? And the composition of the air at the center of the tornado, on top of the tornado, okay? What if we explode like salt, some kind of ash, whatever chemicals, okay? Right on top of that tornado, okay? Let's see what happens. Does it get rid of tornado? Yeah.
Well, that'd be kind of like taking, and I'm just going to throw out there like dry ice, and having a tanker full of it and taking it to the top of the tornado and spraying it out over the entire surface area of the area, because most tornadoes is a hot and cold air mix that has turned into a super spinning wall of wind that is as they're mixing together, the cold air is pushing one way, the warm air is pushing the other, and it starts spinning faster and faster and faster. And I kind of see where you're getting at when you're saying that, and I could agree that our U.S. military could be utilized a lot more effectively than what we currently are doing, especially when it comes to fighting our forest fires. They should be out there on the direct line and helping fight the good battle. That's what we're paying them the big bucks for, so to speak, is to fight those battles that the average everyday Joe can't do.
Yeah, I went to air show in the Anchorage JBL, Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson. Yeah, we have wonderful these airplanes, helicopters, Humvees, army trucks like LMTV, like light medium tactical vehicle. I used to drive that stuff, okay, when I was U.S. Army. So like helicopter, we have all those expensive and highly effective fancy equipments in the base, and they're all parked and they're sitting idle when Americans are dying. Okay? Those military equipments and personnel, they're highly trained. And taxpayers are paying for their food, shelter, everything. Let's use them, okay, to save American lives. They can be part of rescue missions. Oh, yeah. Helicopters. We have them all. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Chinooks. Apache. Well, Apache is just only one person in that helicopter. For we have Chinook. Big helicopter, two propellers, okay? And also the Black Hawk, alright? Yeah, they can carry a lot of people. Let's use them to rescue missions, okay? And Marine, they have their own helicopters, okay? And Navy, they have all the boats, okay? Yeah, there's rescue mission in like disaster, like hurricane. Let's use U.S. military people to help people in need, okay? And fight the crimes too. And also we can help out educate the homeless people. And yeah, all that good stuff. And guarding the border. Yeah, we need to build the border wall first. But after that, yeah.
Do you think we can convince Saudi Arabia showing up and putting in that straight line, mirrored walled city down at our southern border?
That's possible. But the wall should be more like steel, like metal, so that it cannot be easily broken, you know? And but of course they can dig tunnel, right? Yeah, so we need to like infrared surveillance to detect those under the ground tunnels. So and yeah, those need to be done. So yeah.
So hyperinflation, the gas prices going through the roof.
Yeah.
I know myself, my electric bill here in my home this summer is about approximately $40 more than what it was last year at the same time. And I'm seeing it at the gas pump also. I mean, $100 to fill up 20 gallons in my tank, where a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, it cost me $40 to $60 at most. I mean, 60 was the top price that I was paying anywhere when it came time to fill in my tank, and that was when I was filling my Suburban. And that was going at 30 gallons at a time, not just 20. If you get elected, how do you plan on helping to help Alaskans' pocketbooks? I know my property taxes have gone up this year. Our local governments want us to pay for the higher costs of government employees through taxes. And so raising our property taxes is one way they have accomplished that. My tax bill for my property is almost doubled, yet my property hasn't improved. My neighbors haven't sold anything recently. They haven't done any major improvements to upgrade the neighborhood to justify nearly doubling my cost of my taxes on my property, let alone my electric bill going up $40 more a month, or my gas bill every time I fill up going up $40 to $60 more than what I was paying 2 years ago. What, if you're elected, do you plan on doing to address these issues?
Yeah. So inflation, because we have very dumb president, Mr. President Joe Biden. He's like, oh, we cannot produce oil and gas in America because of global warming, but Saudi Arabia, please produce more oil and gas in Saudi Arabia. That is as dumb as it gets, because if Saudi Arabia produce oil and gas, global warming, if it happens, just following their logical reasoning, I mean, air circulates, so there's no difference. Oil and gas is developed in America or Saudi Arabia, it's same carbon dioxide in the earth air. Okay, so it's as dumb as it gets, President Joe Biden, okay? And so, we need to produce oil and gas in Alaska and other parts of America, and to drive down the price of oil and gas. And to make that happen, we need to educate people that oil and gas is good, and global warming, climate change is okay. There's nothing wrong there, okay? We need to get popular support of that idea, okay? And then, when it comes to inflation in general, I mean, fossil fuel oil and gas is like blood that runs the economy, okay? Oil price go up, every product's price go up because trucks, they use oil and gas, diesel, okay? To deliver products. So gas price go up, all other products price also go up, okay? So we need oil and gas, okay? And then when it comes to, I like international trade, okay? So I'm sorry about Russia-Ukraine war going on, but I would not embargo Russia. I would not boycott Russia's oil and gas. No, I would not. Why? America first.
Well, it hasn't done any good to sanctioning that they've done to Russia. In fact, I mean, the ruble is now worth more than it has been over the last 15 years. It has increased. They have made record-breaking profits in Russia, selling their oil to China and Saudi Arabia and Iran, far above and beyond anything they ever hoped or dreamed of. The sanctions haven't done nothing to cripple their economy for what they're bringing in. McDonald's pulls out and they just rebrand the stores and open them up under their own new names. Starbucks pulls out. They just rebrand the stores and open them up under their own new names. The Russian economy hasn't been hurt one bit. In fact, they've profited from this war immensely. But we hear mainstream media lying to us all the time, saying, "Oh man, we really hurt them now. We cut them off from the World Bank. Oh, they're defaulting on these loans because they can't pay in the ruble. They got to pay in American dollars." Yet, if you go and look at those loans, they haven't been defaulted on. It was just nothing but blowhard mainstream media trying to buffalo us all. And so here we are. We're paying the price. Us Alaskans, especially, are paying the price at the pump, at the electricity that we're paying for for our houses and our homes, and the heating and fuel costs of the bills. I mean, rural Alaska is going to be seeing double what they paid last year. They just got their new shipments in for their energy for the next following year. And unlike the rest of us who have been feeling the crunch now for the past year, they got the lower prices is what they were set in on all winter long until they got their new shipments in. Now they're going to pay for the price of it. Where does if you're elected, I mean, how do we end this to where we get back to more rational dollar amounts for what we pay? I mean, Joe Biden claims, oh, look at the job numbers that we have. We're record-breaking jobs, yet we hear throughout all of our government agencies like the Alaska Municipal League, Alaska AFL-CIO, Rasmussen Foundation, and many, many, many other organizations saying all these government jobs aren't being filled. They're empty. We can't find people to work them. We're seeing the same thing in the tourist industry here in Alaska. A lot of them are running limited hours right now because they can't get employees to come in and work. They can't find people to work. We've got more people living on welfare now in our state than we ever did in entire history since the pandemic started. And where do we get back to a sense of normalcy in what is going on? I mean, the jobs have yet to come back. In fact, we've still got, if you look at the pre-pandemic levels compared to where the employment numbers are right now, we're still 10 million people still have yet to ever go back to work.
Yeah.
Yet Joe Biden says, look at these record job creations that he's done. He's breaking history. Well, he hasn't even replaced the jobs that were lost before the pandemic, let alone even get the new ones to appear. Alaskans are feeling the crunch. What can we do? What do you plan on doing to help curb that, change that, bring us back to a sense of normalcy again?
So, yeah, President Biden is not a good role model. He's a bad role model, okay? What does he do? He doesn't not work. He take pictures, photo ops, shake hands, go traveling, and then some ceremonial stuff like giving awards, medals. That's not work. What that is he's like taking U.S. president job as a retirement job, okay? He go out to events, speeches, photo ops, take pictures. That's not solving any problems, okay? And yeah, he's one of the worst presidents that America had, okay? He's one of the worst. So like, but if I senator, U.S. president, okay, yeah, pretty good role model. If you have a problem solving, yeah, southern border wall, NY oil and gas, pebble mine, and protecting American people's lives, eliminate homelessness, eliminate crimes, educate people. That's what I'll be doing. Okay, I'm sorry about Ukraine and Russia war. I'm sorry. Okay, but when I'm president, my sole focus is about America. Okay? Yeah, I love Russia, I love Ukraine, I love both of them, okay? What I would have done when Russia invaded Ukraine, okay? I would have a Zoom meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky. Hey, do not fight Russia, you're not gonna win. Surrender. So that nobody dies. Okay, because Russia is not a bad country. People in Russia, they're happy. They drink vodka. In Russia, they have karaoke bars, they have dance clubs. People in Russia, they're happy, mostly, okay? So, Ukraine being part of Russia, it's not gonna be too bad, okay? Just stop fighting, don't resist, then nobody dies, okay? And Ukrainian people, yeah, I'll make a deal with Russia, okay? If you want to come to America, I give you free pass, Ukrainians, okay? Because we love Ukrainians, okay? That's what I would have done if I was a president now.
All right, I'm going to open this up now for what would you like to talk about next?
Well, I guess, let's see. I think we covered pretty much all the basics, right?
We have.
Yeah. I just want to thank you, Mr. Politadick, and thank you, kind and generous, wonderful ladies and gentlemen in the world. Yeah, let's make things happen. I represent brand new politics. Paradigm shift. I don't take donation money. Okay? I do campaigning. I'm running for US Senate 2022 Alaska. I go to work Monday to Friday as a lawyer. I go to work like everybody else. Okay? I do not want to take people's money or their time. But kindly, generously, our friends in social media, they send me digital art, like music video, video files, and also picture files, the campaign poster, campaign advertisement material for free. And it's great artistic endeavor. It's fun. Okay, I posted in the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter all those campaign arts, artist contributions. Okay, so thank you, and yeah, so this is the beginning of a transition, paradigm shift. You and I together, we will change how politics is run. Not run by money, but run by ideas. Idea campaign, okay? Yeah. We will make it happen, okay? I may get elected this year as US Senator in Alaska, 2022. I may become President of the United States in 2024. Or it may happen in 10 years, 20 years, because I will continue to run. Or it may even never once in my life happen. Like, I may become one of those perennial candidates who never get elected. Okay? Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. Okay? But we will work toward that goal. World salvation. No more crimes, no more homelessness, no more violence, no more wars. We are working toward that goal. Ultimate goal is a human salvation. That's what this campaign is about. All right. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, everybody that has tuned in here today. This was Huhnkie Lee for U.S. Senate for Alaska. Take a moment, like, share this video for more people can participate and get educated about the issues around our state, around our country, and here in Alaska, and representation that is running for U.S. Senate for Alaska in D.C. And also go to our website, Politadick.com, and click that support button. All proceeds help to pay to be able to do more of these interviews. Also, the gas money needed to be able to make it to the near distant future. Things that are going on, like this Thursday, I will be in Anchorage for ranked choice voting and the explaining of how that is to work. I will be a part of that seminar. This coming up next Saturday, they have a big campaign candidate event that is going on in Willow, Alaska. I'm going to be at that. Also on the 6th, they've got a pro-abortion rally going on in Palmer, Alaska, where they're going to say, F you, Alaskans, in Palmer. At least that's what the flyer that I saw that was going around before they changed it because they were yelled at that it was not politically correct. That one is also going on this next Saturday. I do not plan on attending that one. I've already been to one of those this year, and it's really sad when the only person that gets attacked there is the only one that was streaming what they had to say, uncut and unfiltered. Real shame that the violence is always on the side that says they preach peace and tolerance. Like and share this video. I am going to hand this back over to Huhnkie Lee one more time and allow him to have final comments here today. I do appreciate you guys all being here with us today on the Politadick show and with Huhnkie Lee for U.S. Senate for Alaska. Huhnkie, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Politadick. Thank you, kind and just ladies and gentlemen in the world. Yeah, so let's dream and dream big. Let's be ambitious. And let's forget about the past. Yeah, let's move on, look forward. And let's study, continue to study, exercise, diet. And let's educate, let's learn from each other. And let's correct ourselves and make improvements in our lives. So every single one of you have to be like savior. Okay, you have to be the savior. Every one of us. That's the only way this world can be saved. We have to be Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad Allah, Confucius, Socrates. Every single one of us have to be saints and saviors. Okay, that's the only way we can be saved. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you all for being here today. Help us grow. Go to www.politadick.com/support. That is POLITADICK.com. Click that support button. All proceeds go right back into doing what we are doing here today. We have been able to live stream this to you on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook at Politadick and Politadick Unfiltered. And hopefully y'all were able to tune in on one of your favorite social media channels. And when we are able to use these services, when we get enough bandwidth, you can also find this live on Politadick.com. And most live videos that we're able to stream when we're able to use the services, you will always be able to find us live on our website at the same time. Again, we were on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook today. Please like and share. Supporters like you is what make this possible. It keeps the gas money flowing in to keep that tank full so that we can make it to more of these events. If you do know something that is worthwhile being at, or you'd like to see me somewhere live streaming it for you, just send me a message at Politadick on Facebook. I answer messages usually within the first few minutes after they have been posted. Very rarely does it take me any longer than, say, an hour. But that's very rare that that's the case. I'm usually within minutes after the message has been posted, I'm responding back. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to be able to come and stream something for you. So you guys all have yourself a great Sunday afternoon, and I will see you later on this week.